officially alive.
Officially live?
No, not live. Alive.
Oh, just
as
alive.
In,
all right.
As in, we are not currently dead.
Right. Okay. So we're alive, but we're not live. Okay.
No.
I know we're alive. I can see it on the screen.
¿Por qué no los dos? Come on. And now we just sit. Now we
81,000 bits.
Isn't that insane? People are crazy.
I know, it's crazy. Man. Yeah.
People are crazy. Now we just sit back and we wait for everyone to tell us how bad the audio sounds and what else is going wrong right now.
Just a point to note: our logo is not rotating; it's not changing for sponsors.
Are you serious?
Yeah, or it's not on stream at the minute, so people might only be able to see something we're going to announce.
Well, this is why we go live early.
Absolutely. 159 in the chat. Hey man, good to see you. First person on.
It's on. It's on loop.
It must be really slow. It's just flicked.
No,
oh, it's working now. It's going now. It's going now. Yeah.
I didn't even change anything. I just took it off loop and put it back on loop. Oh boy, that is funny.
You guys sound like a married couple. We are married, man. Look, there it is. There it is. There's proof.
Oh, I have one too. It's just invisible. No big deal. No big deal. But yes, we are married.
We've got a few people. We've got Starston, Nebulan. Hey guys, good to see you again.
All you early birds.
Generic 193 as well. That's a great username. I like that.
Yeah, I like any name that involves generic.
Yep.
It always reminds me of that meme where like it's like someone's like, "Hey, do you want to hang out?" And then the other person just says generic excuse or whatever, and then the person asking is like, "Did you just say generic excuse?"
Yeah.
Hello to you, Rope. Hey gang, says Riot on the Bay. Welcome, glad to have you around.
Riot as well, yeah. I hope your number one sold out quickly earlier on. I was tempted. I've got to be honest.
I imagine they did.
I'm under no illusion that they didn't, but yeah. And Talisman's here, Crunchy Meatloaf, and ISO returns as well. I think I missed someone at the top. Was it Debizzle? Mr. Bizzle here as well?
Debizzle King, yeah. Very nice.
Debizzle King, yeah, nice. And Bledin subscribed with Twitch Prime for 3 months on the trot. Thank you very much, Bled.
Crunchy Meatloaf, which is a fantastic username, by the way, says generic salutation.
He's listening.
That is fantastic.
Great usernames. Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, I like that. And Tectonic Player as well with a tier 1 sub for 8 months. Thank you very much, man. We appreciate all of your subs. Thank you. Starson's looking for a 65.
Man, I want a number 160 so bad.
Do you know what I want? I want a number 1 TKL because the number 1 when I built the number 160 on stream a couple of weeks ago, that completely reset my understanding of what a $500 board should be. It just so blew my expectations out of the water. It was so good. And I want a TKL. So I want a number 1 TKL. So that's on my hunt down list at the minute.
I would settle for a number 1 TKL, but a number 160 is really what I'm after here.
I've got too many 60s. I need a TKL. So
I've
only got one of the TKL, which is the Vern, which is just behind me up here somewhere.
I can never have enough 60s.
So yeah.
Oh.
ISO Returns subscribes at tier 1 as well for 5 months. Currently on a 5-month streak. 1 more month.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, TC. No, thank you, dude. Thank you. And Jeshef as well gifted a tier 1 sub to Top Class Community, and that went to Alertle. So well done, Alertle, and thank you very much, Jeshef.
Very nice. As usual, we're live just a little bit early to kind of just hang out and talk with you guys for a few moments while we wait for people to get in here.
Absolutely. Riot's just he's playing it cool here. This is Mr. I'm going to play it cool. There will definitely be more small form stuff based on the number of entries. There's some unmet demand. Oh my god! Understatement of the year. I rate. Dude,
sure?
You're killing it, man. Yeah.
Riot's a veteran. He's trying to toy with us here.
He is. Yeah, he's playing it so cool. So cool. Man, yeah. Yeah.
There's like 2 or 3 people that want more. Yeah, just some.
Yeah, absolutely. If you happen to find a number one TKL Riot, then just do let me know.
He's got to feel like laying in his bathroom, like in the tub.
Well, you say that, but I tapped up my keyboard earlier on today. I said, what key sets have you got from group buys that you never actually sold? You know, just like spare stock. And they came up with quite a list earlier on, so I ended up picking a couple of key sets up. So some people do have them.
Fancy. It's Undone. Tier 1 sub for 6 months in a row. Let's go, boys. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, boy.
Let us go, boys.
Yeah, let us go. Yeah, okay. And UPass he's just been PMing me actually. I think he's just finally shipped something special, which might be on stream next week on my build stream week on Sunday.
I like special. Special's good.
Do you like to be satisfied?
Brutally, one might say. Took me way too long to think of that. Fizky sub tier 1 for 19 months. Thank you very much, Fizky. Appreciate that, my dude. Kinky. Yeah, a little bit. Oh man, it must be that time of the month. There's a lot of subs going on so far.
Yeah. Pilot XJ as well with 2 months. Thank you, dude. We appreciate that.
Heck yeah.
Bot pinged at exactly 8 PM. Oh, it did as well. Shit, the bot pinged, yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, we'll get started momentarily then. Geo subs with tier 3 for 19 months. Thank you very much, sir. Tier 3, that is some fancy shit.
UPass is asking for my address now. I'm having to try and type and present. This is not good. I can't multitask.
That's okay. I got you. Hello, it's DNL. Just subs at tier 1. Thank you very much. Dilbert Programmer in the chat. Isn't it past your bedtime? Just kidding. Appreciate you staying up for us.
To be fair, it's well past my bedtime. It's 2 AM here. So.
Yeah, you've already slept like a little bit though. Like this is like your
I got three solid hours. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like your midnight.
DNL as well, Jay. What are you doing? So like, hey man, you're EU as well. You're Germany, so it's 3 AM for you. So don't you be telling me what am I doing up so late? And James as well. Good to see you, dude. James, I can't wait to see you at the UK meetup. We're actually staying at the same mutual friend's place the night before the UK meetup. So I'm
nice.
That's going to be a good night, is that?
Maybe I'll even be there.
Maybe.
Anything is possible. Probably won't happen, but anything's possible.
I like your confidence on that.
Yeah. If it's one thing I have too much of, it's confidence. And fat. I have too much fat. But I also have too much confidence.
I'm the same on the fat.
My confidence to fat ratio is like really far off. I should not be as confident as I am for how fat I am.
Hey, well look at James Corden, man. He's super confident, so... Oh, Nebulant's teasing me now. He said, Mr. J, I think you and I could come to a trade agreement someday. Ooh, is this about a certain number one? Interesting.
Ooh.
And Dalsu as well. We've got all of the EU crowd coming out tonight. Dalsu, I'm very well, thank you. And I'm looking forward to a certain Kipura buy that we're wearing as well, that we're sharing Dalsu. So hopefully there'll be some news on that soon.
Mountain Block says heart. Donates 300 bits as well. Thank you very much, sir. And since the bot has pinged the Discord, I think now's probably as good a time as any to get this road on the show, if you know what I'm saying.
And good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, guys. Welcome to this week's episode of Top Clack. I am Jay, and at the side of me we have Brian Quakehams, the man himself. Welcome to this week's show. We've got some exciting stuff to talk through this week. We've got the end of Mech Madness to go through, talk about what happened there, what the upsets were, what the surprises were. We've got a stacked news document. I think it's going to be a good 5 AM end finish for me going to bed on this one. I don't think this is going to be a quick show. So get ready to strap in, guys. Grab a drink, grab some snacks, and get ready to watch us for a couple of hours now. So welcome to the show. We've got a lot to go through today. We've also got a few new announcements. Some of you may have been keen-eyed and spotted some changes to one of our overlays. So we'll be talking about that in a short while as well. But this is Top Clack for the 4th of April. So welcome, guys.
Yes, welcome all of you. So, typically we do a little bit of a mail call, but right here on our doc, it says some swear words that I'm not going to repeat. But the long story short is we don't have anything this week.
No, nada. Yeah, nada. Nothing at all this week. Nothing that's worthwhile sharing. Anyway. Next week is a different story. I've got a few bits coming. As I was alluding to a minute ago, UPass has decided to ship some things to me that I can take to the UK meetup in a couple of weeks, which I'll be building on stream a week on Sunday if they arrive. So everything is looking good for that, and you might be very satisfied to watch that stream. You might gain some satisfaction out of it if you catch my drift. So I'm really excited for that, and that's going to be a good week.
Yep, awesome. Talisman Solutions, and it's 1,111 bits as usual. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, dude.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
It's Undone asking when we're going to have a new intro, and I think that the answer is going to be soon.
Yes.
Jay and I have a long meeting ahead of us tomorrow, where we're going to talk about some things, and we'll keep some of it a little bit secretive for now, but a lot of cool things are going to be happening in the very near future. So just keep that in mind.
Yep, absolutely. The Ice is Nice 33 as well with a subscription for 3 months, saying TGROP.
Yeah,
I'd agree.
Yeah. We'll get into the Mech Madness segment here pretty shortly after a couple of announcements. But Antonio Margretti subbed for 5 months in a row with Twitch Prime. Thank you very much. From much love from our favorite Italian. Very nice. Thank you, sir.
Well, my favorite Italian's a takeaway down the street, but okay.
I thought I was your favorite Italian.
What? You're Italian?
I'm like a quarter Italian.
Alright, okay.
Yeah, it could be worse. 24-hour stream soon. Yeah, so that actually brings us over to a little bit of our announcement segment where we are talking about upcoming things that are happening. 24-hour stream is coming. Like we've been saying, Jay and I are hopefully going to start structuring that more finally tomorrow. We have some segments we're going to talk about. We have some people we're going to talk to bring on. We're going to get the structure rolling, and things are going to get happening. We're really still aiming for this month. It'll probably be towards the end of the month, but we're definitely aiming for this month. So yeah, keep that in mind, guys. If you have a keen eye and you notice that our sponsor GIF has been rotating, you might notice a new name in there. So, we got a little bit of an update there, and as you can see, bam, on screen right now, KBDfans has decided to sponsor us henceforth. So, shout outs to them for helping us out. They've been wanting to work with us for a while now, but we've been silly and stupid and
we took our time to make the right decision. Yeah, I would argue the more political way to put that. We took our time to make the right decision. That's that was it.
Anyway, so KBDfans,
we finally found the way, and that's very clever.
Yeah. So in honor, of course, I'm wearing my Don't Lose Your Way shirt. Which I don't know if I can show this on stream very well, but on the back it's pretty awesome because it has the KBDfans X Top Clack logo.
You're gonna have to turn right around. There we go.
I tried. I don't know how well that worked. I didn't plan ahead for that, but yeah. So in honor of KBDfans, this is the first episode that they're sponsoring. Don't lose your way, guys. Good stuff. But more on that later during our sponsor segment. We'll get to that. Let's roll into Mech Madness. All right, I think that's let me attempt to hype you guys up for a second. Alright, so Mech Madness. Oh, that's not what I wanted to show on screen. Hold on. That's what I wanted to show first. Don't worry, I'll show the other thing in a few moments anyways. We just had to get to that. So this is this is us kicking off our final 2019 Mech Madness segment. As you guys know, the tournament is already fully over as of a few days ago, but since we haven't had an episode since then, we're going to be talking about it today. We got all your final stats and data. Got a lot of fun kind of notes and data for you guys as well. And, maybe if you guys haven't been keeping up with it, we, of course, we have all the information on who won and what beat what, etc., etc. So, Bam.
Before we jump into the into the finals, though, I think what we should do is we should talk a little bit about what made it into the final four, because there was some really interesting stuff that happened. There was a little bit of some upsets as well, I think, getting into that final four.
I agree. I agree.
So yeah, so why don't you walk us through what happened to get into the final four, Brian?
Okay, so let me just make sure I'm on the right page. There we go. So our final four. We'll start out with the keyboards here, obviously. So our unofficial Final Four of last week became our Final Four. Big surprise. We had 2 Rama boards and 2 TGR boards. TGR Jane V2 and the TGR Alice. The RamaWorks M60A and the RamaWorks Koyu. I like I mentioned on last stream, I think it was, you know, the TGR Alice is probably one of, if not the most hyped boards in the community, and I definitely think it was the favorite.
Yep.
So I'm not surprised at all that it went as far as it did. But you know, that's kind of just the way it works. So as far as the keyboard at the finals, we have the Jane beating the M60A. 525 to 470. So people were a little torn on this one. It was fairly close, all things considered, and a lot of people were a little upset at a couple things that happened because of this. So you know, if you're so if maybe you follow a lot of other Instagram accounts, other Discord servers, whatever, you know, some people were, for better or worse, I guess you could say, were trying to kind of manipulate the vote count a little bit. And I use that term very lightly because I don't really have much of a problem with it. It was more like, you know, some people were saying like, hey, vote for this, and, you know, maybe there's going to be a giveaway or something surprising or secretive, you know, whatever, like something could happen. And then, you know, you have other people on Instagram that are like, hey, this is my product, vote for this and stuff like that. You know, at first glance, I saw that and I was like, I don't know how much I like that. But as I thought about it more, I'm like, it doesn't really matter. I think people are still going to vote for what they like, and they're going to vote for what they vote for, and it's not really that big of a deal. And I think
I broadly agree with you on that. I think at the end of the day, there was a lot of consternation about was it rigging, was it vote fixing, and all of that kind of stuff. You know, was it trying to pander to the community? And I think you're right. I think at the end of the day, it was too late in the competition for people's votes to be influenced in a negative manner. I think people had already decided at this point, because of how far the boards had got, they had already decided what they were going to vote on and things like that, and what they'd wanted to pull through the brackets, because, you know, everyone had been invested to some extent in it. Everyone who was voting at this point on Instagram was invested so heavily in the journey of all of the things that they've been supportive of, that I think to influence someone's vote at this late stage was probably not going to happen. I think the impact would be very low. Yeah. That being said, hinting that secretive things may or may not happen, that feels kind of unhandy. If it had just been, hey guys, go vote for my product, fine, I wouldn't have had a problem with it. That kind of suggestiveness is probably where I see the little bit of negativity. But given how far it happened into the event, I don't think it was as bad as it could have been.
Certainly, yeah. And I think the vote kind of reflects that too. Jane beating the M60, 525 to 470. You know, that's almost 1,000 votes between the two, and to only have a 55 vote delta is really not that big. That was a close matchup. That honestly could have gone either way, I think. And it's not really surprising.
It was 50-50 when I voted on that. I was only a few hours before the end of it as well, so it was really close up until towards the back end.
Yeah, certainly. Moving on to the other matchup of the Final Four for keyboards was the Alice versus the Koyu, and unsurprisingly, the favorite, the TGR Alice, pretty handily beat the RamaWorks Koyu 462 to 262. So that one's a little bit bigger, a 200 vote delta there. Pretty darn convincing. I don't think that could have gone either way. I think the Alice was just going to win that.
And you know what? I don't think it would have mattered what board was put up against the Alice in the quarterfinals. You know, the Final Four. I think any board that semi-finals, any board that you put in there at that time is going to struggle against the Alice, because that is, you know, it's been the favourite all the way through the competition. It's not something that was going to have an easy ride either way. And I feel really bad for the Koyu, because it's such a good board. It's a solid product, and to be matched up against the Alice was just probably bad luck more than anything.
Yeah, but people, like I said earlier, people are going to vote for what they like, what they want to vote for. So
for sure,
it is what it is, and that leads us to our championship round of the keyboards, which was as you predicted last episode, TGR Alice versus TGR Jane V2. And
well, just before we go into that, what was the bet we had on that? We did have a bet on this, where I said as much as I'd like it to be Rama versus TGR, it was going to be an all TGR final.
Yeah.
Well, we had a bet that something was going to happen.
Well, yeah. Well, I have to send you some awful American goodies. By the way, that bet was kind of forced upon me, and I was not the favorite in that bet. So I think you're trying to finagle me a little bit there, and I don't appreciate that, Jay. I think
don't worry though. Don't worry, because I do have a goodie box that's going to win.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll send you stuff either way. I don't care. But I just think you're trying to make yourself look good. I think we all knew the TGR versus TGR final was going to be, something more common than TGR versus Rama. I just wanted the TGR versus Rama because I do think it makes it a little bit more interesting. I
agree.
Regardless, the final went down as such. The TGR Alice did beat the TGR Jane V2 363 to 299. So you got about 64 vote delta there. That's
closer than I was expecting.
It is relatively close, but still fairly convincing that the Alice just is the most popular keyboard in the community right now, guys. But Jane V2 coming up a close second. So shout outs and congrats to TGR for obviously putting out the products that people like to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think last year was clearly the year of TGR in terms of boards. The Alice and the Jane, both fantastic products. And there was some surprises for TGR along the way. I would say, which is I thought the collaboration with Singer for the Unicorn, I thought that would have done better than what it did. But overall, Yutsuki winning out here with TGR.
Yep, pretty darn convincing.
Yeah,
so. Yeah, and obviously that makes the Alice your final winner there.
It does indeed. Yeah.
2018 Keyboard of the Year, guys, for Mech Madness 2019, TGR Alice. There it is.
Absolutely. Which brings us nicely on to talking about our final 4 key sets, and I think there was a couple of upsets here as well.
Certainly, I think a lot of people didn't see some of this coming, honestly.
Yeah, so just starting out at the top, the final 4 key sets were Modern Dolch, Red Samurai, GMK Olivia, and GMK Space Cadet. And I think by far and away the favourite for the final was going to be Red Sam versus Olivia. I think that's what everyone had put in the brackets. That's what a lot of people were expecting, and that's not what happened. In a really, really closely fought battle, Modern Dolch beat Red Sam by less than 10 votes. It was 406 votes for Modern Dolch to 396 votes for Red Sam. So literally 10 votes in it. And Modern Dolch got through to the final. So that was a little bit of an upset for a lot of people. I think people in chat saying it ruined me, it killed my bracket.
That killed a lot of brackets, man. I don't think anyone expected Modern Dolch to be in that final 4 like that convincingly, and especially not only be in the final 4, but beat a popular and highly in demand set such as Red Samurai.
I mean, if you look at Red Samurai, I think when I was covering my streams before I joined Talk back at the end of last year, my key set of the year last year was Red Samurai. I know that then Man of Interest said that his key set of the year last year was Red Samurai, and everyone has been hyped for it. The price has been shooting up; it's been skyrocketing, and then to get to the final, it just loses to Modern Dolch. Which, don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic key set. I'm not taking anything away from Modern Dolch, but the hype that was behind Red Samurai to then get knocked out by Modern Dolch one step away from the final was a bit of an upset for me. I was really surprised at that. Really surprised.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of an interesting thing, too, because out of all 4 of the final key sets, Modern Dolch is the only one that isn't in anyone's hands yet. At the time of this tournament.
You say yeah. I was gonna say because Janglad just got his sets in today.
But they didn't start shipping until like literally the last couple days. So like by the time this tournament had ended, and during the tournament, nobody had Modern Dolch. But Red Samurai, Olivia, and Space Cadet were all very well and healthy out in the community. So it's kind of interesting. I wonder if the fact that Modern Dolce beat Red Samurai here, that we're going to see a really huge aftermarket influx for Modern Dolce, and people are going to pay a lot of money for it. Because
do you know what? I know it sold a lot of units, but so did, for example, Sarika, and that's you know, that's going for some silly money on the aftermarket right now as well. I think we are going to see a bit of a Modern Dolce, you know, aftermarket here. You know, some increases in the prices you suggest. Now I know some of the vendors have got extra units and things like that, and I know, Brian, we've maybe got a slight agreement for coming up for a stream for maybe a set of Modern Dolce. That might be something you guys want to pay attention to over the next couple of weeks. But I do think that it's going to become one of those future classics. You know, Dolce is a classic. You know,
yeah.
You've got Sky Dolce, you've got all the other variants of Dolce that everyone loves and, you know, always do really well. You've got your Kekon sets and all of that kind of stuff. I think this is going to be one of those new benchmark sets that almost everyone's going to want to own at some point. It's going to be the new Dark Oblivion.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's a fantastic set. I think it did very well. I think it's going to continue to do very well in the aftermarket. And clearly, at least in the context of Mech Madness, people preferred Modern Dolce over Red Samurai for the majority. So pretty interesting to see that.
Slight majority.
Slight majority, yeah. Hey, I am not wrong. I am technically correct, which, as we know, is the best kind of correct.
All right, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, so just you know, keep that in mind. So our other semifinal matchup for the key sets was GMK Olivia versus GMK Space Cadet. And that one was an absolute blowout, as the GMK Olivia matchups tend to have been so far. That was Olivia crushing Space Cadet 472 to 174. Almost a 300 vote delta on that one. That is big. Huge.
And do you know what? Again, Space Cadet is not a bad set. I'm literally using it right now on this board, and I think it's fantastic. I've got a lot of time for Space Cadet, but Olivia, as a key set, it's just, you know, the community is so behind it, and the community so loves it. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yep. And
just a quick shout out to Sir Nathan Kim himself. He's subscribed with 14 months, and he says Modern Dolce will hit $800 per set. You heard it here first.
I hope not, because I'll never pay that price for it.
Well, maybe we need to raise the bar. Maybe there's going to be a first $1,000 key set. You know, you never know.
I've seen people pay $1,000 for a key set before on the aftermarket.
Not for a modern one. For some of the old ones, I'd suspect, some of the really rare stuff.
No, SA Carbon in 2015, 2014.
Really?
Yeah.
I think mine on the market that same year for about €300 or something like that.
Yeah, I legit saw someone pay like $1,100 for it was like multiple kits, but it was like ridiculously rare at that time.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Calm Depths also, the first run of SA Calm Depths, people were paying upwards of like $800-900 for it. It was crazy. Yeah, anyways, let's digress here a little bit.
Yeah, we're digressing. Yeah, back to Olivia crushing Space Cadet, like literally crushing it, pounding it into dust.
Quite literally destroying Space Cadet, which led us to the key set final, which was Olivia versus Modern Dolce, and in the same consistent fashion, Olivia kind of blew away Modern Dolce too. This one was a little bit less of a blowout, but still pretty savage. 446 to 224. So Olivia almost doubling.
Yeah, it's the
amount of votes there.
It's just a huge number. And interestingly, the votes are broadly the same for Olivia in both the versus Space Cadet and versus Modern Dolce. You know, 472 votes and 446 votes. It was kind of broadly the same number. But then Space Cadet got 174 and Modern Dolce got 224. So they're really close as well in terms of how they were perceived against Olivia.
It would have been interesting to see like a third place finish matchup. So to get Space Cadet versus
Red Sam.
Yeah, Red Sam. So that would have been kind of interesting. But of course, that leads us to the 2018 key set of the year, GMK Olivia. Congrats to GMK Olivia, and congrats to Olivia, the designer behind it.
Absolutely.
Most popular set of the year.
Yeah. It's a stunning set. I think what I'm going to do is just tomorrow, because I've got the day off work tomorrow, I might put GMK Olivia on my Alice and take some pictures and put them on Instagram just because I can.
The winningest combo.
The winningest combo, the combo of 2018. Yeah.
Yeah.
Might have to do that, but we have got some good stats around the tournament itself as well that we want to talk through. So just in terms of the sheer number of people that got involved as well, there was over 1,300 brackets filled out. So this was a massive event. There was a lot of people invested in this. I think it was just shy of 750 in terms of key sets and just over 620 in terms of keyboards. So there's lots of people getting involved, lots of people, you know, really excited to look at this kind of stuff and to do this. And I think it's been a fantastic success. I think we've got some more stats as well, Brian, if you want to run through some of these.
Yeah, so in terms of votes, the total number of votes throughout the entire tournament was 64,059. So a fair amount of interaction between this. Pretty awesome. Average votes per matchup was 508. That's average votes per matchup. Average votes per matchup round from round 1 through 5, is 476. 507 to 524 to 564 to 793. So as the tournament went on, it consistently got more and more votes per matchup. People got more and more involved as the tournament went on. So that's really, really cool. So yeah, so we do have we can talk about the winners. It's public knowledge now, so
sure, let's go for it. Yeah.
Let's talk about the keyboard winners first. I'm gonna put those on stream for you guys. So shout outs to the top 10 finishers of the keyboard bracket. They will receive prizes, which is cool. So your number 1 keyboard bracket winner is Jax Static. Shout outs to him. We have top Clack moderator V Vega coming in at 2nd. Very nice. Otana Shock pulling up 3rd. Number 4 is Tent Boy. 5 is Mighty Fine Shindig. Great username, by the way.
Such a fantastic username, yeah.
6th was Duke Squire. 7th was the Judge 168. Faza came in at number 8. Number 9 is Saru 15963. And number 10 was Fish in a Spacesuit. Also a great username. So that was your top 10 winner list for the keyboard bracket. Let's move over to the key set bracket.
Sure, yeah.
Which showed the first place with Quadepo. Then Ham Kenobi coming up 2nd. Very nice. Shout out to you, brother. Number 3 was Joe Cool Bob. Then Orangapul for number 4. 5 is Smallwind. 6 is P-Tade. 7 is also top Clack moderator, not G10. Crown Sigil got 8th. Another top Clack moderator coming in number 9, Tsushimi. And then Subnet pulling up in 10th place there. So those are all your winners, top 10 between both brackets. So shout outs.
Big shout out to the moderator team at Top Clack. Clearly, we have a moderator team that knows what they're talking about and is very knowledgeable about the keyboard.
What feels bad is neither of us made it into the top 10.
I was miles. Well, to be fair, we had really different approach on this because I just voted for what I liked, not necessarily what I thought when I did try to get a winning bracket. I think I came really in the middle of the table, but you had some good points and you were quite high up for quite a long time.
I was top 5 for like a while on both brackets. And then the semi-final and final crushed me because I did not expect Modern Dolch to do as well as it did.
No, I don't think very many people picked that.
I don't think I expected the Koyu to do as good as it did. Yeah, so I got absolutely shafted, especially because I threw in a curveball, and my keyboard finalist, my grand final winner for the keyboard, was the Orion V3, which I don't think anyone else picked. But I knew that if it did make it, I would have to be the winner because I would be the only one that picked it.
That's a really interesting way to
really bold, really bold. And I knew my chances were, less than 0.5% probably. But, just trying to have fun. I wasn't qualifying to win either way, so, just trying to have a good time either way.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to talk through some interesting facts around those top 10 winners. In terms of the key sets, most points scored was Quadepo, which is actually Ryan from GMK Minimal. So he ran GMK Minimal with Janlag. So that's Quadepo, and he got 170 points out of a potential 192. So that was really, really well done. His counterpart on keyboard was Jack Static, who got 173 out of 192 points, a massive score there as well. In terms of most correct picks for key sets, it was our very own not G10 or Geo. He got 56 out of 63 correct picks
good.
and finished in 8th place. It's really good. And then the most correct picks on the keyboard side of thing, with exactly the same score of 56 out of 63, was Ollie Tender, who actually finished 84th because of the way the Rose works and what he picked in subsequent rounds. But his correct picks were really strong early on, and then not so great towards the back end. So it's really interesting how he got the same score as Geo did in key sets and keyboard, but then finished, quite way behind the mark in the end. So, but well done to Ollie Tender for making those right picks in the first rounds.
Yep, and finally we have the longest streak without missing is 33 in a row by Neo Jonathan, who was really starting out strong. He absolutely dominated the first round. He crushed everyone by getting like everything right in the first round. He did really well in the second round as well. And then, like a lot of us, he started to fall off a little after that. But that's just the way it goes. Fun fact, I think Geo would have actually been first in key sets if Red Samurai would have actually beaten Modern Dolch. So that could have been either way. So that was by 10 votes. Him placing 8th instead of first. Pretty interesting.
Just back to Neo Jonathan. One thing I did say on one of the early streams in March, I know I was away for a couple of weeks, but I did say that whoever got the longest perfect streak, I would send them a prize. So Neo Jonathan, I know I've got your address. I haven't shipped it as yet because I've been a little bit busy with other things, but I do have it here. It is a golden Pexon cable, so that'll be winging its way out to you soon. Nice. I've got all of the details, so I'm going to send that off. I keep my promises. I might be slow sometimes to post stuff, but I will get it out to you. So well done, dude.
Not as slow as I am, Jay.
I wasn't going to mention that, but yeah, you brought that up.
It is what it is. And that actually wraps up our Mech Madness segments for this year. So as far as I'm aware, there will be another Mech Madness event happening in 2020. Of course, going over the things that happened throughout 2019, I imagine Dixie Mech would want to do that again because this event turned out pretty darn well, pretty darn fun. I know he put a lot of effort into it, but I imagine he learned from a lot of the experience, and he'll have it a little bit more streamlined, I guess you could say, in the future, and it'll be really awesome. So I'm looking forward to that. Yep. We had a lot of fun, not only participating but talking about this. Talking with Dixie Mech about this as well. It was just freaking awesome. And so shout outs to Dixie Mech, who really worked his ass off for this event.
Oh,
like
man,
he put in so much work that people didn't even see. It's like unbelievable. So truly hats off to him. Shout out, round of applause, whatever you guys want to do. Make sure you thank Dixie Mech for this event because otherwise it would have not happened.
Absolutely. Go support Dixie because he's a fantastic guy. He's really good, and he's done so much work. As Brian says, just the sheer volume of work he had to do to sort everything out, and he had to do it around his day job and doing
around 2 day jobs. He's been going through so much stuff lately. Yeah, I don't understand how he does it, man. I don't understand.
No idea. He's a workaholic. He's dedicated. That's the thing, and it really shows. It does really show.
But yeah, look forward to next year, guys, because I'm sure Mech Madness 2020 will come at you again, presented by Dixie Mech, and hopefully coverage brought to you by Top Clack. So
start taking notes now, guys, of what group buys are going on and what's going to be hot.
Yeah, we're gonna have people studying. It's gonna be great throughout the year. Yeah. How many sets did this sell? How many people wanted it on the aftermarket? How much is it selling for now?
Yeah, what's going well on Instagram right now? What we're doing, all of that kind of stuff. It's gonna be great.
Absolutely. And without further ado, let's head over to our news doc because we got a healthy one for you today, guys. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Quick note before we get into the news doc is obviously a lot of you probably realized that a few days ago was April 1st, which is April Fool's Day. That may or may not apply depending on where you are in the world. But in our keyboard community, where a lot of people are in the US, EU, whatever, a lot of people were very interactive on April Fool's Day. And if you're not familiar with what that is, it's pretty much just a day to make jokes and, memes and stuff like that. Personally, I'm not really a big fan, but hey, it is what it is. A lot of people have fun with it, and I think that's cool.
I don't think anyone in our community is silly enough to do something as silly as that, Brian. I don't think so.
Well, let's take a step back here because a lot of people were, including Top Clack's very own Jay. So yeah, we kind of talked a little bit about this, but we kind of decided that we weren't going to share joke posts on the news doc just for the interest of time and the interest of them, not even being real. We kind of toyed with the idea of maybe doing like a best of April Fool's thing, but at the same time, this show is going to go on for so long because we have a healthy news doc, we have the Mech Madness segment, we have a new sponsor today as well. So, and of course, we're going to end with Q&A like we always do. So, we got a very lengthy show for you today already. We don't really need to add it with stuff that isn't real at the moment.
Yeah. Unless stuff becomes real, which might be happening. So we might talk about it soon.
Yes. Okay. Don't do it to him, Jay. Don't do it to him.
Hey.
All right.
The public gets what the public wants.
Oh man. Well, speaking of people doing it to other people, let's I don't know how it's a segue, but channeling my inner man of interest here. Let's start out with our first interest check of the day, Zambumon's Jules. Which is a fun name. And I will preface this by saying I believe that when I first saw this post, which was made, well, for me it says March 31st, but obviously being where he is, he's ahead of us in time zone, so it was April Fool's Day for him. This did kind of have some April Fool's jokes and memes going on in it. But he has since kind of revised a little bit, so it looks a little bit more professional, cleaner, which leads us to believe that this is actually a real interest check for a product that will presumably be real.
It is, yeah, absolutely, 100%, yeah. So this is the Jules. So Zambumon's following his standard Jules Verne inspiration. So we know he has his previous board, the Verne, which we got prototype a couple of months ago, and following all of his Nautilus and all of that kind of stuff, following the Jules Verne theme. This board is now named after Jules himself, the same as the Verne was. So it seems that keyboards are named after the author, and the key sets seem to be named after the stories that he wrote about and some of the characters where they're in. But this does take a bit of a departure from the Verne. It has very similar design language. It's very similar in terms of its look and its feel, but instead of being a TKL, it is a 65%, following a very similar layout to what we've seen on the Canoe and a few other 65s, with that nice blocker between the bottom row function keys and the arrow keys. What do you think of this, Brian? What was your thoughts on this?
I think it looks absolutely fantastic. I loved the way the Verne looked, but obviously being someone that isn't quite as into TKLs as some of the smaller formats, I straight up prefer this by a landslide over the Verne. Much more my style. I think the design is really nice, really clean. I like a lot of the choices that he made. Speaking of, I'm just going to run through a few of the specs. So the case is going to be milled aluminum, bead blasted, and anodized. I like the bead blasted approach because it kind of gives you that slightly more matte kind of appearance. I like that a lot. Similarly, he's doing the plate in a very similar fashion. It's going to be milled brass. That's going to be your only option as of right now, which is also bead blasted, which is great. I like that. PVD coated, 1.5 millimeter thick, so nothing terribly out of the ordinary there. Not the first time we've seen that. There's going to be a typing angle of 7 degrees. Plate colors, it says copyright 2019 Zeal Generation Incorporated preferred choices. So obviously that potentially means two things here. So this means that we don't have any colors finalized yet, and this also might lead me to believe that Zeal might actually be running this group by. So potentially just something to keep in mind there. It is a top mounted plate. Not terribly surprising there. And as far as the layout is, he still hasn't quite decided. Still to be decided. It says fixed or semi-fixed. That's been kind of a theme that he likes to do. I know on the Verne he kind of limited to very, very few layouts there. And so that's kind of what he likes. Because, most people do prefer fixed plates. In terms of a raw typing experience angle, people prefer fixed plates. They tend to feel better.
Absolutely.
They tend to sound better. They tend to look better. Obviously, you don't get as many layout options, but hey, that's the trade-off. So I think we're going to start moving towards, kind of a generation in this community where we don't have as many universal plates. And, some people might be alienated because of that. It's unfortunate, but, we can just hope for the best.
So there's probably a couple of things I want to address there. I think first and foremost, this board. So I built one of the Vern prototypes, and I have to say, and I said this all the way through the stream as I was building it, it was one of the nicest design, both inside and outside. It has really good design language. It feels nice. If the anode quality is transferred over to these, they feel fantastic. It's such a a nice board to touch and to hold and to feel. The way that Zambumon's designed the curves and the way he's had them milled are fantastic as well. The way that the USB is on the daughter board, all of these things that you saw on the Vern are going to transfer over to this board as well. So if you do want to have a look at how the Vern was built and what the insides look like and what all the internals are like, go check out that build stream. It's on Top Clack on YouTube. The board is fantastic. It sounds great. There's a Vern. It sounds amazing. It feels great to type on. The angle's perfect. It is genuinely one of the nicest boards in my collection, and I really, really hope that this 65% follows all of that through. So in terms of its look, it does, and I just hope that all of that design language in terms of the feel and everything else follows through, because this could be a real winner. Zambumon's one of the biggest key set designers, and his boards are lovely as well so far from my experience with them. Yeah. So I'm really excited to see this. In terms of the plates, I think I absolutely agree. Fixed plate is the right thing to do. So as a few people know, I'm doing the JO1 run at the moment. I'm only offering fixed plates, but I'm offering two. So you can pick between fixed ANSI or fixed ISO. I think that is how the community should go. What we should do is we should start to look at having multiple options on your PCB so people can pick and choose what options they want, and then having the designer determine what layouts they want to be fixed as part of the plate, and then either offering multiple plate files or saying this is the plate it comes with, but here's the file, you can go amend that to fit the PCB better if you want to do something different. So it's definitely interesting, but I think we are going to start to form more of a queue down that route. We are going to start to look as a community more towards what are the fixed plate options and what are the ideal layouts that the community prefers. And I think that's absolutely the right thing to do. The last few boards I've built, I tend to get custom plates cut to the layout that I want to use, and make sure that I've got a fixed plate, because they are nicer, as Brian said. They feel nicer to type on. They look nicer when you can see the gaps between the keycaps. They look better, and they offer a more consistent sound and feel to the board. So I think both of those things are spot on. It's the way the community should focus.
Yeah, and just for the sake of discussion here, I'm gonna try to play devil's advocate as often as I can, because I think it's good to kind of cultivate the information and stuff, and I want to involve chat on this as well. So open your ears, guys. Listen to this for a second, and let me know what you think. So as far as fixed plates go, you could consider it part of a design choice. Obviously, Zambumon did the Vern, and his design vision, the whole thing he wanted to accomplish there was one singular fixed plate or semi-fixed plate, whatever it was, that did not involve ISO, or a lot of other variants. So, is it? I'm trying not to step on anyone's feet here, but is it do you think it's a problem when you want a board and you can't get the layout that you want because the designer doesn't consider it part of his vision? Okay. Is something different layouts that people use something so integral to the design of the keyboard that it should or should not be part of the designer's vision, or it should or should not be an option that the end user actually gets? Because I'm not on either side of the fence here. I merely want to cultivate discussion right now.
So for me, there's two arguments to this. There's the designer head and there's the consumer head, right? So the designer head is, I've had this idea, I've got this vision of what this board is, and that means I don't want to support this key or that key because I don't like the shape, I don't like the position, whatever that might be, which then forces them down a layout. That's designers' prerogative. If they want to pick that and do that, that's fine. I don't think there's any problems with that at all. But they should make it clear that that's a decision that they've made and a conscious choice to remove other things that they've made, and why. From a consumer perspective, my view is that the consumer is going to want what the consumer wants, right? So that's different for every single one of us. People get into this hobby because they want to build a custom keyboard. They want the board to fit their use case and be, how they want it, with their layout, with their keycaps, with their look and feel. by restricting it, you are going to limit some people from being able to join the group buy. You're going to strip some people out from wanting to support you, or you're forcing people to adopt something that they don't want to adopt if they want your product. Now, none of these are bad things. These are just considerations. But I think there's very much the designer view in terms of it's the designer's choice, and it absolutely is. But then at the same time, are we going to say to the community, well, you can't have something that you like because you don't like what the designer likes? And then you're buying a custom keyboard that isn't custom because you can't customize it. You're buying something that's almost like a fixed product at that point. The reason I got into custom keyboards was because I wanted to, play with the layout and the switches and everything else that I wanted. But keyboards aren't just about layout; they're also about switch types and everything else. So limiting one of those factors, how big of a deal is that? And that's the thing that I don't think there's necessarily a right or wrong answer to. I think that's very much up to individual community members to make the choice on. I do think that people should make those considerations themselves and consider, am I buying something just because it's a product that's got a name behind it, or am I buying something because I can actually customize it to how I want it to be? And neither's a right or wrong answer. It's all about making sure you understand those conscious choices up front, I think, for me.
Yeah, certainly. And like I said before, this is merely to cultivate discussion and to kind of get some feedback from you guys on what you think. I'm not in one side of the camp or another. It's more I would like to see like why choosing one fixed layout, like saying you have to use ONZ ANSI, or you have to use this if you want to use the board. I want to always see how that translates to design language, because I have very little artistic talent. I am not a designer. I'm not like one of these awesome designers like Zambumon or Thesis Camper, but insert popular designer here. I'm not those people. I'm not a designer. I'm not an artist. I'm not good at that kind of stuff, and that's fine. I appreciate that. I always kind of want to see how that those kind of choices actually wind up being in the design and why. Yeah. So I like to try to pick people's brains on that.
The key thing you said there is the why. So if you're making a decision as a designer, it's good to tell people why you've made those decisions. I think for the vast majority of group buys, my view on this is that you should absolutely offer, if you want to offer a fixed plate, for example, you should offer a fixed plate and then say the PCB supports these layouts, but this is the plate that you get with the board because that's my design. That's what I want it to look like. If you want something else, here's the plate file, go make your own. And that's at your cost, at your expense, at your time, and at your leisure if you want to do that. And that's very much how I see a lot of group buys going. So I know that Wilbur, for example, with his new board, he said exactly that to me when I asked him. He said the PCB supports different layouts. The plate that comes with it doesn't support those layouts. If you want them, the plate file will be there, and you can then go and make your own plate file at your own cost, time.
Yeah, and that's cool. I mean, if the designer releases the plate file and says have at it, that relieves them of any kind of issue that could otherwise be there, because you're by doing that you're indirectly automatically adding whatever layout you want, and that's cool.
You have support with it without actually actively giving it.
But what about when you run into the same fixed plate scenario and someone doesn't release plate files?
Then my view is that it's fine, but they need to be really clear up front that that's a decision they've made and why they've made that decision. I think one of the things we don't see in the community right now is designers saying why they've made certain design choices. They say this is my design and these were my these are the decisions I've made, but we don't get a rationale as to why those decisions have been made. And I don't think there's necessarily a right or wrong answer to what those that might be, what those answers are. It's just to give people an understanding. So it might be, I didn't put ISO on there, for example, because I don't like the look of that layout. And that's fine. That's a rationale. That's something that we can understand. Whether we agree or not is different, but at least there's some understanding there that says, okay, that's your reason. I can appreciate that, even if I disagree, and we can all move on and accept that. It makes it easier to accept, because it is frustrating as a user of a certain layout, and everyone knows that I have this position. It is frustrating when there's such nice products out there that I find really difficult to use. So I absolutely love the Vern. I think it's fantastic. It's one of the nicest boards I own. It's amazing quality. It sounds fantastic. It feels fantastic. I can't sing its praises highly enough. But the challenge for me is I struggle to use it because I struggle with that layout. And that doesn't mean that I don't want to buy any of Zambumon's other boards or anything else, but my personal reason for getting into the hobby was that I could build a board customized to me. And selling a board that doesn't have that customizability, that has a fixed offering only, I think it just reduces that the kind of desirability sometimes for me a little bit. Not in terms of whether I actually want the product or not, but a case of, well, should I actually try and get this because is it actually going to be usable for me? So if I have a rationale up front that says I didn't put this feature in, whether it's whether it's an ISO only board or an ANSI only board, or whether it it has to have a blocker or whatever that decision is, if they say I've put this in for this reason, at least it gives me some semblance of understanding as to why they've made that decision, rather than just saying that's the decision and you have to live with it.
Certainly, yeah. So I do want to. Sorry, just one more thing. What I do want to qualify that with is that I don't think that necessarily the community has the right to demand things of designers. They have a right to absolutely
ask
not.
For things.
Yeah.
So they can say, is there going to be support for this? And no one should ever be penalised for asking a question about something that's not clear in an interest check. But I don't think people have the right to demand something. So there should never be a case of you should add this support to this board because I want it. They might be a question about would you consider adding it, and that's a very different proposition. And I think asking if something's going to be added should be treated with humility and respect. That's an actual question that someone's asking because they're interested in something you're producing. But at the same time, if someone's being quite forceful and demanding of it, that's not right.
Yeah, and at the beginning of this kind of small discussion here, I did ask for the chat's feedback as well. So I'm just going to go through a few of those answers as well.
Yeah,
that's all good. So let's see what we got here. It's up to the designer. It's up to the designer. It's great when more support is added, but the designer has the last word. So are looking pretty strong for that argument. Absolutely. The equalizer is going to be design more keyboards and run more small group buys IMO. Then people have more chances to get what they want. Okay, fair enough. Regional differences deserve to be supported. With a global community, it's dumb not to support regional differences. So yeah, that's the other side of the argument.
It's a fair comment, yeah.
It's fair. Yeah, I mean, I think the argument is pretty solid either way, honestly.
And again, I did say a couple of times, there's no right or wrong answer to this. It's about rationale. It's about understanding why decisions have been made, not that the decisions have been made, if that makes sense. I think that's the key to it for me.
Yeah. Osiris saying, I think if you are going to make a fixed layout plate, making the plate files available is a good option, so it's open for people to adjust the plate themselves. I think that's probably like the best middle ground approach, right? Like design it the way you want. Be like, here, this is my vision, this is my design, this is how I want you to use it, this is how you should be using it, but here's some plate files if you don't want to follow my vision exactly. Yeah, but in there, it's kind of on a designer-to-designer basis of whether they think that the people should be following their one and only decision, or if they should have a little bit of play depending on where they are regionally.
Yeah. Now, in terms of that's the thing that I support. That's kind of my best middle ground that I've been able to come up with. And what my view on that is that you should go with what the community wants to support, and then let anyone else around the fringes pick up how their support, their layout or anything like that. So and I'm shooting myself in the foot as an ISO user by saying that, but I think that the vast majority of group buys should offer a fixed ANSI plate, and then there's various definitions of what fixed is. Does it offer step caps or normal caps and all of that kind of stuff, but it should support fixed ANSI because that's what most of the community uses. But in terms of if the PCB has the support, or if you want to put additional support like UPass did on the Satisfaction 75, giving people the option of then having the plate file and going and making things is the right thing to do in my view. That being said, the devil's advocate argument to that is a lot of designers don't want to release plate files because it has designs in there. Now people can just reproduce them. You can once you've got the plate file on hand for the ANSI, with a little bit of work and a little bit of time, you can go and replicate that yourself and then have Laser Boost or someone else cut it for you. That's not a problem. It's doable. Reverse engineering. But it is up to the designer whether they want to release the plate files or not. So
yeah.
So
in saying that, Factory of Idols in chat brings up a great point. Says, I feel like some designers design the board that they want, and some designers design the board that the community wants. I don't know that there's a problem with either method. That's totally fair.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Okay, since we've trailed off a little. Great discussion, by the way, for all involved here, but we've trailed off a little bit. Let's get back to the Jules, so we can maybe not spend 7 hours on this news doc. But
okay. Bottom line on this, I really like it. I think it looks fantastic.
Yes, the Jules looks awesome. The specs are looking quite freaking nice, if I do say so myself. Speaking of which, the PCB will be a Wilbatech designed PCB, the WT65 Jules edition, which sounds cool. I like when there's like something edition that like makes me feel extra special when I get it, even if it has like no real meaning. I like it.
The Vern, I think, was the Nautilus edition of the Wilbatech PCB because it had the Nautilus logo on the PCB in place.
Nice.
Which is quite nice. So it's nice that this has got little nods back to other products that Zambumon's done. So yeah, I think that's really good.
Yeah. So this will feature a USB-C daughter board as well as QMK/VIA support for the configurator. So awesome. We love seeing both of those specs. Can't wait to see every single PCB ever have those specs. A man can dream, right? A man can dream.
Absolutely, absolutely.
There's some beautiful renders though, as expected from Zambumon.
With the striker set at the bottom, it looks really good in that blue. I really like that.
Yeah. So make sure you check out this interest check for the Zambumon Jules if this is kind of your thing.
Absolutely.
All right, and moving on to our second news topic. We have the interest check for the Karat Keyless with Alf Studio, and then when I say carat, I don't mean the vegetation. I mean carat is in the measure of purity for gold. So Karat, Karat Keyless. So this is an interest check run by user and designer Amato, and this is going to be manufactured by Alf Studio. So this is a pretty interesting looking 60%.
So interestingly, this designer is the guy behind the Uncertainty 60, which we looked at a couple of weeks ago, which I don't think is going to group by status as yet. But this is so what this reminds me of a lot actually is this reminds me of the Brutal 60 that UPass has done, just with that side angle and the front bevel kind of thing. It does very much remind me of that. But I think it's just a simple 60%. The Winky blockers are nice, and it's nice. It's got a nice symmetrical look from the top, which is good. But I'm not sure how I feel about it. I'm not sure I'm a fan of the weight design. That kind of polygonal shape produced at the bottom. I'm not sure I like that.
I more or less agree on those things, but let's run down some specs anyways. So
sure, let's talk about that.
Yeah, the case obviously aluminum, not too surprising there. The plate and the weight are going to be PVD brass only, so this is pretty limited. We're seeing a lot more material limited on plates these days, actually. Just like the Jules that we just talked about, which is only going to have a brass option for the plate. This again only having a brass option for the plate. We have a 9-degree typing angle. It's going to support pretty much all of your normal standard left side USB 60% PCBs. So pretty normal stuff there. It's going to weigh about 2 kilograms, aka 4.4 pounds in freedom units or something like that. Color is still being decided. And so let's check out some of the pricing info too, because this is kind of interesting. I wanted to touch on this. So he says, although I cannot say for sure yet, according to Alf's factory, the price of the prototype is $200 to $230 in that range, which is for a prototype not very expensive.
Not at all. No,
when actually doing a group buy, it can be lower than the price of the price of the prototype depending on the number of products manufactured. But he does note that the PC version is to be expected to be 1.2 to 1.3 times higher than aluminum in terms of cost, which is funny because he doesn't actually mention any kind of polycarbonate version anywhere else except for that line.
Yeah, so I've got a couple of thoughts on this. The first one is that prototype price is really low. I'm not sure if that's just a feature of Alf's factory or if they like to work with people to get prototypes done or whatever, but
that's low.
Yeah, I mean, after going through a few prototype rounds of a couple of boards, that is very, very low. In terms of the actual group buy price, if that's the prototype price, you'd expect to see that come down quite significantly for the actual group buy. So I'd be interested to see what the type of price he's thinking of for the group buy is. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, if this turns out to be like $150 board, that could be pretty good value.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. It has potential to be a good value board. In terms of the polycarbonate version, normally when we see polycarbonate group buys, the price is identical to the aluminium version. So I'm interested if this will be more expensive, and that might be the fact that it's a feature of it being at the lower end of the market rather than the mid tier of the market, where we see most polycarbonate boards in the higher end tier. So that'll be interesting to see if that is significantly more expensive.
Yeah. Absolutely. Also, just because I missed it in chat earlier, Jax Static did sub at tier 1, and he says, "This community is amazing, and Top Clack helps make it that way. Makers sharing and helping pushes the innovation forward, in my humble opinion." So thank you very much for that. Glad you're here and part of our discussions and our news and whatnot. So thank you very much for that sub, my friend. So yeah, that's the Karat win keyless, which does only come in a win keyless version, by the way, if you guys didn't see that.
Yeah. There is no other bottom row option. It's just one bottom row. There is some other options that it will support in terms of the rest of the layouts, but it's just that one bottom row, which is interesting. I don't think we've ever seen another board force that particular row. So, yeah, I don't dislike the layout. I think the layout's great. Actually, I think that's the layout.
It's fine. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see where it comes. He does say that he's ordering prototypes this week. It'll take him around 20 days and then a few days for delivery afterwards. But the group buy is likely to run after the Uncertainty 60, which is the board we mentioned previously. So it's a little way out, but I'm interested to see where this goes. If it's as low as we suspect price-wise, this could be a good budget board towards the middle of the year. Yeah. Absolutely,
which I think is still where the community is lacking a little bit. It's been a lot better lately than it has in previous years, but that middle ground of price to performance ratio is really what we need here in the community. Need a lot more of that to kind of get people in the door for quote unquote entry level customs. Not that I'm going to necessarily call this or other products entry level customs, but I think just to get people in the door, we need a lot more of that.
Yeah, which actually makes me think, I wonder if that's what Alf's doing with this prototyping price. I wonder if that's the reason why the prototype price is low, because he wants designers to go there and come up with new ideas, and he's maybe just charging raw material costs and very little for the time or anything like that, just to try and get designers there with potentially future group buys that they run through him. That might be something that he's doing to get the prices low.
It's definitely possible. Alf has kind of been a prolific designer in the community for a while now. He's done a lot of boards.
Yeah, a lot of group buys as well.
Yep. All right, let's move on to this next interest check for the YKH 33 steampunk style 33% with polycarbonate. And wow, that is a mouthful. But this board is really interesting, to say the least. Guess I'll show this little GIF on screen for a second, if you want to kind of run down some of the specs for us.
Sure. So in terms of this, it has an 11:3 layout, so it is 33%, and the first column you can have a 1.25U keycap on if you want to. It supports Cherry MX switches and Alps as well, and it's compatible with either Teensy or Pro Micros, depending on what you want to use. But that, of course, gives you full QMK compatibility with those bits of hardware. 18 SMD LEDs for everyone, twin rotary encoders as well on there, and it's pretty much ready to go from what I understand. Looking at his version fixes, it looks like it's pretty much ready to run. In terms of expected prices, the PCB without the Teensy rotary diodes and resistors is $35. If you add on the Teensy and encoders, that's an extra $10. The diodes and resistors an extra $5, and then if you want the LEDs, that's an extra $8. So in total, you're talking around about $50 in total for the board itself. Well, $60, sorry. For everything that you see in the GIF that Brian was just showing off a second ago, which is kind of fun for like a little interesting board from a PCB perspective.
I definitely think it looks like a fun PCB, but does the PCB price seem a little high? Like a blank PCB for $35 is kind of expensive.
Yeah.
With no SMD components on it is really quite high if I'm being honest. So
one of the things on this, it depends on how many he's bought. So I know from buying some small numbers of PCBs without components and having someone hand solder them for me, that they're not cheap. So if he only has 15 of these in stock, that price might be close to his actual cost. If he's got 200 of these, then that price is way out of proportion. From so
to be clear, guys, I'm talking about the price of just the blank PCB. So this is without the controller, without the rotary encoders, without diodes, without resistors, everything. Literally just a blank PCB that you have to put together yourself. So
I'm wondering if this would have been better as a kit that had a proper at Mega
a full
CPU or something,
a fully
like
assembled PCB, because we see a lot of fully assembled PCBs on the market for like not much more than $35. Some of them even cheaper than $35, like fully assembled with controller and components and everything. So
exactly. Now I do think that again that comes down to MOQs and how many of these they're actually ordering. But I think you're probably right on that price. It is probably a touch on the high side, but it does depend on the numbers he's expecting to sell.
Yeah. But I guess we'll see. As far as the case, the case is kind of interesting here. So he has a few different options. He does say that once he ships the PCB, or once you get the PCB, he will share the CAD files for the case, so you can kind of make your own kind of thing if that's more your style. But he does have some options as well. So he does have a bottom polycarbonate with screw and standoff for $11. He has what he's calling a half case, which is a bottom case and a 5mm case and 5mm plate, I imagine, for polycarbonate. And that will have no switch cover, which I think that he means plate. So he's obviously, he's from Vietnam. His English might not be the greatest here. But so I don't know if this is maybe a translation issue or anything. But switch cover, I think might be plate.
I think that's what it means, yeah.
Yeah, then he has the full case polycarbonate with presumed plate there for $35. So, I mean, not terribly expensive. But, maybe could be a little bit better, particularly on that blank PCB itself. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of a neat little project. A 3x11 grid, you got up to 2 rotary encoders there. A lot of people might be into this.
Yeah, I think it looks great. It looks fantastic. It's just a cute little board that's got a lot going for it. The LEDs look great. It looks fantastic in that little GIF at the top of the page. I like the rotary encoders. They seem to be hot right now. People seem to be going nuts for them. I like the bare components on the top of the PCB edge. That's just a nice, steampunk type look. I think that really works for it. Again, as you say, the price for the PCB does seem a little bit high.
That hand thing in chat actually says PCB is subsidizing the cases, only way it makes sense, and I would probably agree with that, because the case options actually seem really well priced. It's just the PCB seems very high, so could be something like that. Either way, kind of a neat product.
Pilot XJ says from the comments, isn't a steampunk keyboard just a typewriter? Well,
probably, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I do like this though. There was also a comment later on the interest check as well that was around about the Plaid, which was very similar. I don't think it had the rotary encoders, but it also had the components across the top as well, which was something else that was in a similar sort of ballpark. But I think this is all right. I don't think it's anything for me. But if you like small boards that are ortho layout and you want a rotary encoder on it or two, yeah, why not? It's cheap enough to have a play with, so it's not an expensive thing. So why not?
Yeah. I mean, you can get. You can pretty much get a fully kitted board here with the max options for about $100 or less. So
yeah,
not terribly expensive, all things considered.
Yeah, it's a fun weekend.
It's not a daily driver.
Project.
It's like it's the kind of car you're building in the garage.
Yeah. Anyone, if anyone could daily this, I'd be very impressed.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a fun little weekend project, though, isn't it? It's something to do at the weekend. You practice soldering or whatever.
Yeah. And like you said, rotary encoders, man, those are getting hot.
Yeah, they're hot.
Those are getting hot, man. A lot of people are using those in boards, even on higher end boards like the Satisfaction 75 coming out. So
absolutely, yeah.
People interested in those. All right, let's move on to our next interest check, which is for the Cleave TKL, run by user Vinsler. I don't know how to pronounce his username there.
That's how I would pronounce it, Vinsler. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got a few renders here. They're not the greatest. They don't really show a whole lot, but we do have a kind of a general idea of how this works. So this is actually a two-piece design. Let me try to get the best picture here. I guess this might be the best one. So there's two pieces here. Obviously a top piece here, which is made of aluminum, and this bottom piece here, which you can kind of see from the sides as well, is brass. So that's not aluminum, guys. That is a brass bottom, full brass bottom, full aluminum top. And he's going to have a TGR Jane style plate, so we can pretty much presume this is going to be top mount.
Yep.
And it looks like he's going to be working with Heinebush for some H87 PCBs to work with this, which is pretty cool. That's a nice little QMK powered PCB.
Yeah. He's also been working with Heinebush and Ryan for some advice on how to design the board as well, from what I understand. So he's reaching out to the right people in the community to get some knowledge, which is a good sign.
Yeah, it is a pretty nice looking board. One thing I'm a little worried about would be the price. When you have that big brass bottom that's shown from, multiple angles of the keyboard like this, like comes out the sides and stuff, like that's going to require some machine work, obviously. But I wonder how that's going to hurt the price, because this is a big, beefy board. And that's a lot of brass, that's a lot of aluminum. He's got really, really clean curves on a lot of the board too, which is, obviously extra machine time costs.
It depends on how much machine work there is on the slab, to be honest with you. If it's just a rectangle that's got the four corners cut out, then that's not a lot of machine time, because it looks like it's a flat piece. It doesn't look like on the inside of the board it's angled. It looks like it's a flat base inside, and then only the top case is angled. So if it is just a flat piece of brass that's got four corners cut off of it, that's not going to be particularly heavy machine time wise. Now brass does cost more than aluminium as a raw material, but if it is that simple, then it might not be as expensive machine time wise as could be. Couple of little bits from me. I like the thick bezels around the outside. I like bezel boards. That's one thing that I love. What does worry me and just throws my eye off a little bit is the difference in thickness between the outside bezels and then the separators between the FRO and the main key set, and then on the right hand side the function keys on the right hand side and the arrow keys. They just look a little bit thin. They throw my eye off a little bit. And then the fact that the blockers along the top row are 3 different widths as well. So you've got a thick blocker just at the side of the escape key. You've got 2 medium-sized blockers to split up the F row, and then you've got a thin one that matches the vertical and horizontal lines that make it a TKL. I just think that throws me off a little bit. If they were more uniform across there, I might prefer it. I guess that'd be hard to do with the design. But with the thick bezels, those thinner bars. Sure
now that you mention it, I can't look away. It's a train wreck.
It's just something that jumps out at me, and
certainly.
It might be not so bad when the board's built. It's just this is how I see it here. Those look a little bit on the thin side, and perhaps there could be some better dimension work to make it look.
Yeah, maybe if we're lucky in the future, we can get some more updated renders. We can kind of see how this might look built, and maybe see if these kind of measurements work or do not work aesthetically for most people. But I think the potential's there. The potential's definitely there. We need to kind of get back with a price, maybe perhaps see how much this thing could cost, see what it'll look like with some more proper renders.
I'd like to see an exploded view of this, just see if my thoughts on the base are right, that it's just 4 corners, because that would significantly cut down on the machining costs, which might make it affordable. Guys,
if you're ever designing a keyboard and you put up renders, do an exploded view render. It helps so much more to understand how the board works internally than you understand. So just keep that in mind if any of you out there are designing keyboards. Gotta have that exploded view. It helps a lot. He does have a little bit of a progress meter here. Seems like he's about 85% of the way done with designing the case, 90% of the way done designing the weight, which is also the bottom. And then he hasn't started on the plate yet, but he does mention that it'll be pretty much the same as a TGR Jane design. Yeah,
which does suggest it's going to be top mount, to be honest. So which is fine. It's a great option. So one to watch with interest, I think, is to see how it turns out, because it has a lot of potential. I think if that base is, you know, solid brass and it's cheap and easy to machine, then that could be a really nice usable board. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's
just before we move on, Riot playing it cool again. He said we don't do renders, so I'm working on tying number 2 parts above each other with strings to get that exploded view.
I appreciate that. I hope you do that. That sounds like a lot of effort.
I would love to see that. Yeah, it does seem like a lot of effort, but I would love to see it. Yeah.
I mean, even if it's like a real physical prototype, you don't need to have like an exploded view, but just like take all the pieces out and take pictures of them like around each other to show like what, you know, integrates with what, etc.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyways,
just going back to the name on Cleave TKL, just fun fact for you: Cleave actually means to cut apart and to cut into 2 or to cut into sections, and to put them back together as well, which is where we get cleaver, as in the chopping implement to split things apart, and where we also get the word cleavage when you put things together and they look nice together. So there you go; it means 2 things.
Professor J in the house, talking to you about cleavage.
Hey, if I've got an excuse to talk about that on stream, then that's a good.
We are under the science and technology tag, guys. So this is science, guys, for you.
We're mixing material sciences with keyboard sciences with biology here. That's what we're doing right now.
Absolutely. All right. Speaking of science, let's move on to the heavy shell Barracks RGB 10 keyless full metal mechanical keyboard. So this is a little group buy coming at you, designed by Heavy Shell, who also did the design for the all-metal Kira Stealth that Kono recently launched. And once again, this is showing up on Kono. This is $160, and let's take a look at what that gets you. This is kind of an interesting keyboard. You know, this isn't like a high-end custom, guys, or anything, but you know, there's definitely some interesting things going on. So it is an all-metal design. It is high profile. Check that out. The case design to me feels a lot like a classic Philco TKL. Kind of has like a very similar kind of simple design. It has these 2 little notification LED holes there. Very reminiscent of that. Very simple, pretty elegant, high profile. I like seeing that. It does weigh 1.77 kilograms or 3.9 pounds, which is, you know, not
pretty chunky.
It's respectable. It's not super heavy, but it's not super light either.
For what's effectively an OEM type board,
yes,
that's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I read through this whole page and I couldn't find out how the plate mounting worked, so I'm presuming it's going to be probably something like tray, a la like an OEM Philco TKL might be. It's probably a very simple design as well there. It does use a steel plate, unsurprisingly. And we have 3 switch types you can choose from: Hako Clear, Hako Violet, and Box White. I'm sad to see there's no linear option here.
Yeah, I'm interested in why that decision's been made, to be honest, because there's nothing wrong with those switches, but why not offer a little bit more, or even offer a switchless version for a little bit less money? That would have been something I'd like to see as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And case color is pretty limited. You can get red or black. They don't currently have any pictures of the black, so we can't show that, unfortunately. But these are all of the red, and it will come fully assembled with a USB-C cable, as well as this, what I'm pretty positive looks like a cherry profile PBT die subset.
Yeah.
I looked at all these pictures from lots of different angles, and it does look to be cherry profile PBT, which is nice.
I think it is, yeah. I would guess it's cherry profile or poorly rendered OEM profile, if I was to guess, but it's one of the 2, definitely. Interestingly, this is going to run from the 2nd of April to the 9th of May, so it's been open for a couple of days. It's got about a month left on it, and they're expected to ship in Q3 2019. But one thing I did want to call out is just a bit of the marketing text that's been used for this, because this has been written, it's almost poetry, I think.
You guys should read this. It's pretty great.
I'm going to read it out. Heavy Shell created the royalty red Barracks RGB as a throne for your hands and a fortress for your fingertips. That one sentence sums up what they're trying to tell you about the board. I think it's an interesting way of putting it. It almost feels like that was written by Rama, given how he writes some of his board descriptions.
Yeah, it's something. But I mean, you know, wording aside, the keyboard is what it is, and it you know, speaks for itself for better or worse. So, but I mean, $160 gets you, you know, a high profile, all metal, steel plate, TKL with a cable, with a presumably cherry profile, die sub PBT key set, with the switches fully assembled. For
a lot of people, this is
this could be good for a lot of people. Yeah, absolutely. For a lot of people that can't spend, you know, $3,000, $4,000, $8,000 on a custom.
And $1,000 on a key set.
And $1,000 on a key set, exactly. The PCB does have RGB, but it does seem fairly limited. I didn't see anywhere in here where it says the PCB is fully programmable. So to me, that means this is not fully programmable. It is, you know, a bare bones. You might have some dip switches or something, or like maybe some very minor programmability, but it's probably going to be fairly limited.
Yeah, I think it is. I think you're right. It's limited to that one layout. There's no options or choices in terms of layout, and it does say there's multi-mode RGB backlight, but I suspect that's just a few different options.
Yeah, let's cycle through a few of them probably. I did say USB-C earlier. I was wrong. I correct myself. This is actually USB Mini. So do you keep that?
Oh, is it? Okay.
Guys? Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I misspoke on that. But yeah, pretty simple board that, you know, for $160 has a fair amount of features.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a bad board.
I'd like to see a linear option here, even if it's like a box linear, like throw box red in there or something, box blacks.
Yeah, I mean, if you throw in one box option in there already, another one shouldn't be too difficult to do.
Yep. All right, so let's move out of the realm of key sets for now and move over to some move out of keyboards.
Try again.
Hold on, I can word. I know how to English, I think, words. Moving away from keyboards, we're going to move over to key sets, the things that you put on top of your keyboard on the key switches. And starting us out over at Canon Keys, we have the Group I launching for GMK Waves. So this set has been in IC for quite a while now. It's been a while. It's gone through a lot of different design alterations, and this is what they have settled on.
It's gone through a lot of different vendors as well, because originally this set was going to be run on Massdrop, and then Enjoy moved away from them, and he was going to look at other vendors, and he's finally settled with Canon Keys, which is run by our very own UPass. So a big shout out to UPass first of all, because it's really great to see him getting, as a new vendor, a key set to run. So congratulations to him on that. What do you think of Waves as a set? All right, I know we talked about this in IC a long time ago. But what do you think?
As a set, I think it looks awesome. I think this set has a ridiculous amount of potential. I think it looks great. It's one of those boards where like it looks kind of bright, but I feel like it actually would fit on a lot of boards.
Oh, for sure.
Which I think is a rare quality in key sets. I think the price is pretty reasonable, $120. This is another one of those instances where we see a kit that has kind of been cut down, a la GMK Minimal, a la GMK Hamon, where you don't get the numpad, you don't get literally everything, you don't get novelties in the base kit. It's just you know, a little bit more cut down. You do get some compatibility. You actually get ISO compatibility here in the core kit, which is pretty cool.
This,
yeah, so that could be another reason why it's, you know, a little bit more expensive than something like GMK Minimal or GMK Hamon. You know, also, you know, no offense to Canon Keys, because we like Upas here, and the store is very new, and because of that, he doesn't quite have the same reach that someone like Massdrop or NovelKeys might have per se. So, you know, he's gotta be able to cover what he can. But I think the price is pretty darn reasonable considering the core kit. And there are other kits, of course, if you want, you know, your numpad, your novelties spacebar. There's actually a Kobe kit too, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'm not so sold on the Kobe kit, but I think that's just my personal reflection on this. I think this looks fantastic as well. I've been watching this since the original ICs, and I like the colours. For me, it looks like a neon green solarized dark kind of set. That's kind of
you know what's
how I view it.
You know what's effing awesome though? This Rama novelty.
Oh, it
looks so good. It looks so good. Oh man. I don't know if I'm getting the set because I don't know if I can afford it, but I kind of want to just get the cap.
Well, you know that glows, right? You know,
it's an enamel glow, and that is just freaking stellar. I think this is like definitely in like the top 2 or 3 Rama novelties that I've ever seen. My favorite one we'll actually talk about a little bit later. But this is this is stellar, and I think that if I bought the base kit, I would have to buy the Rama novelty as well. It's just too good. It's just too good.
Full disclosure, I have already ordered this. I've bought the key set already. I just went for base set, and I might add novelties on later on. In terms of price, I think the price for the base kit is fine. At 250 units, because it's custom colours, I think it will easily hit that. If it hasn't already hit MOQ, I think it will hit it very quickly. I don't think this will struggle with it at all. It has that kind of aesthetic appeal that Laser had, that the community is just going to jump on, to be honest. I think this will do absolutely fine in terms of the group buy. In terms of the price for the main kit, I think it's good. In terms of the price for the novelties, it's probably a little bit higher than I would like to have seen. There's quite a few keys in there, but it is $60 or so, I think, if I remember rightly.
Yep, $60.
Yeah, 59. Yeah. But I do like the novelties. I especially like the Escape keycaps, which are kind of like the plug adapter for your headphones and that kind of stuff. I kind of like those, and I also kind of like the modifier keys as well, where it's almost got your sliders and everything else for your settings and stuff like that. And your acoustic novelties, they're really neat. I think they really work for this board.
I think strictly in terms of novelties, this is one of the best novelties kits I've ever seen. I think they're all really well designed, and this is one of the few times where I like the majority of the novelties in the set. And I like how there's actually there's some like kind of, I guess you could call them text-based novelties as well. You got your .wave, your .flac, your .mp3, and your high-res. Love that. I love seeing that. Yeah. Text novelties gets me every single time. I don't even care what theme it is; it gets me every time. And then you have your media arrow keys here.
Yeah,
that's smart. That's smart.
Yeah. The fact that you've got the eject key for the O because it fits the design language is really cool. I really like the arrow keys. The arrow keys are probably the best part of the novelties. I think they're really, really clever. I really like them.
Yeah, man, it's hard to say. Like you said, $60 seems maybe a little high for this. But at the same time, there's a lot of novelties in there too. I almost would have preferred like a more cut down kit for the novelties at a cheaper price.
Oh really?
Like maybe remove a few of them. There's a lot of novelties here and a lot of different designs, which is kind of like a catch-22.
And I think that's what drives the price. I know that Bips designed these for him, but there's, to get a designer to do designs for novelties, there's a cost to that, and that might be reflective in the price as well. But the novelties are knocking it out of the park. So $60 is probably a lot for this particular kit, but given the amount of work that's gone into it and the fact that they are so stellarly good, it's probably a fair price, all things considered. So whilst it might sound high to start with, I think when you consider all of the work that's gone into it,
I imagine the price is actually fairly reasonable. I don't doubt that at all. We're just taking things somewhat at face value because, as top Clack, sometimes that's what you have to do. Yeah. And there are a lot of novelties here. A lot of different designs, which I thought was kind of interesting. Like, a lot of times a set will only have, like, 1, 2, maybe 3 novelties. But there's, like, 14 novelties here of, like, different designs, or 16 novelties or something like that, which is a lot higher than it normally is. So, maybe totally worth it there.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like this. I've already joined the base kit. I'm probably going to add the novelties to that at some point. I'm psyched to see it.
The Rama cap is so good.
It is really good.
It's so good. Really good. Oh, man. That's good stuff.
One thing I did want to talk about on this set, though, is that green, is a really, really lovely colour. But how easy is that going to be to match to GMK's plastics? Because I think if this set has any risk around it at all, it's going to be matching those colours. That's where we're going to see the risk on this. We talked about this a long time ago. I don't know you talked about this on Top Clack with Man of Interest, but Laser had the same issue. How was Laser going to make sure that it matched all of those renders, given some of the challenge we've had in the community about sets not matching the renders when they're actually produced? And I don't think there's any stock colour that comes anywhere close to that kind of bright, vivid green. So my only worry, and I know that Enjoy and UPass and everyone else involved in this set will really strive to get the right colour, but my worry at the moment is, and it's only a small worry, I think they'll be fine, I think it'll happen and it'll be okay, but my small worry is that going to be a difficult colour to recreate in plastic rather than just renders?
It's always hard to know, but that's why, like, these days we get the designers and or the vendors of the set generally get samples obviously, before anything actually gets fully produced. So that way they can hopefully see themselves, in proper lighting what the set is supposed to look like. Then they can approve or deny the colors of the samples, and they can go back to the drawing board if need be. So I think most GMK sets tend to succeed when it comes to matching the colors. There obviously we've had a few that are a little far off, and we've had a few that are wildly far off. But these days, I think it's generally a lot safer than it used to be, at least.
Knowing who's behind this set and how particular Enjoy is, and knowing who the vendors are and how particular the runners of those sites are, I think we'll be okay. But I think it is something that's still a worry for some people in the community. And given the fact that we had Solarized Dark, which was kind of similar in terms of its colours, only it was teal instead of green, and we had some of Jessica's sets haven't had quite the right colours, and there's been a few other sets as well where things have been slightly off. I think this is going to be the proof in the pudding. Can GMK actually produce some of these really bright colours in a plastic format that's not typical of the work that they do? So I'm really interested to see how it comes out. I have joined it. I wouldn't have joined it if that worry was actually a big concern to me, but I think it is worth talking about.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. Shout out to 159 who gifted a tier 1 sub to Straight Classy. Thank you very much for that, guys.
Oh, thank you, dude. Thank you.
All right. So that is GMK Waves, which you can get on right now. It opened the beginning of this month, and it'll close the beginning of next month. So you still have almost an entire month to decide, and then hop on that if you want.
Yeah. I might reach out to Enjoy and see how this is doing numbers-wise across all of the vendors, because I think that'll hit MOQ very, very quickly.
Yeah, I don't doubt that this is going to sell 250 plus units for the core kit. That's the lower priced GMK sets that we've been seeing lately, even with the more cut down kits, have just been doing really well. Hemon did really well. Minimal did really well.
Really well, yeah.
Really well, yeah. So I don't see GMK Waves struggling here. If it does, I'll be quite surprised.
Not at all. Not at all. Just looking here, I'm just going back through my my notes, and he said that it was. Hold on, I just want to get the exact numbers. He said a couple of days ago that day one they were over 100 kits sold. So there we go.
Yeah,
so
Upas in chat right now saying we are already very close to MOQ for Waves.
Absolutely.
In the first 3 days, easy MOQ.
That's 250 MOQ as well. That's it's not. Which is actually interesting, because we're going to talk about another GMK set in a minute. But what's really interesting actually at the current thing is we've had in the past few weeks we've had Ski Data 2. We've had Minimal, we've had Waves, we've had Metropolis, we've got the next one we're going to talk about, which is GMK Nines, all running broadly at the same time. There's a little bit of overlap between them. We've got Mizu coming at the end of the month.
Mizu at the end of the month, yep.
So that's 6 top-end key sets, all GMK, all running broadly within a 5 or 6 week period.
This is a really hard month to love GMK, guys.
Oh yeah, I spent a stupid amount.
And all the sets are good too. All of these sets that you're listing are good with high potential.
Yeah, and FamGuy's just calling out that Eclipse just went live too. But this is a really real test for the community right now. So this is a stress test on how well, as a community, we can handle GMK Keycap group buys and get them to MOQ. If we'd have done this 2 years ago, if we'd have had all of these sets running this period 2 years ago, some of them would not have hit MOQ, some of them would have failed, and some of them would not have been produced. Guaranteed a couple of years ago.
Oh, absolutely.
Now the community is in a different position, but this is a fantastic stress test on not just people's wallets, but on the community as a whole. Can the community support this number of keycap sets within such a short period of time? And then conversely, can GMK actually support all of the production of these key sets as well going forwards? Because they've got a couple of key sets that are about to ship in the next couple of months that have been big group buys. They've got Hamon that's in production right now, that was a massive group buy, and all of the other ones that have run towards the back end of last year and over the first couple of months this year. Can they actually accommodate all of these in their pipeline, or are we going to start to see dates slip? So it's a really big stress test in a number of different ways for the community, and I'm really interested to see how this comes out over the next few months. But I don't think any of the keycap sets that we talked about are going to fail to hit MOQ so far. So
no, I actually hadn't really thought about that before, but yeah, this is going to be a really interesting stress test.
It's looking really positive. Yeah, it's looking really positive.
Well, I mean, last I heard, Metropolis was doing amazing. Minimal did really well.
Minimal was almost 700 sets, I think. Metropolis, when I spoke to Neflock, it was over 400 sets.
Yeah, well past MOQ on these sets already, and like Upas was saying, Waves has already crossed 200 units for the core kit in only 3 days. Almost a month to go. Like, are you kidding? Like, this might even hit 5. So, like, you know, anything's possible. Shout out to Chewy for Twitch Prime sub 5 months in a row. Thank you very much, sir.
And it's what it's worth calling out here as well. It's worth calling out that whilst all these keycap sets are making it, last year we had keycap sets at the back end of the year that struggled, like DMG. I know when I first joined TC, it was at the beginning of this year.
Almost failed.
And DMG was struggling to get through it. It took, you know, Krellbit to buy out a number of sets or whatever the deal was. I don't know, but you know, a prominent member of the community to step in and fund some of the sets to get it made. So it is really interesting that we can go from that position just a few months ago to the position we're in now, where all of a sudden keycap sets, doesn't matter how many we put in the market, they're making MOQ. It's really, really impressive.
What happened?
Is it a time of year thing? Do you know what I suspect? Right, okay, and this is me just being a little bit, well, probably a little bit facetious, but I wonder if it's due to the fact that everything's just happened right as everyone in America got their tax
returns.
Yeah. And at the same time as Mech Madness is running, which is giving a whole raft of boost to the community, because, you know, that was getting, you know, what, nearly 1,000 votes at the end per round. So I'm wondering if all of that has added together, and it's just become a bit of a mecca for GMK keycap sets right now.
Yeah, not to mention that you know, right now the Euro and the USD are very close together. So we don't really have to do a whole lot of marking up because you know, the conversion rate is, you know, so almost even right now, which is really helpful to our community. Not only that, but you know, we've had a lot of these cut down kits where you can get a GMK base kit for, you know, $100, $110, $120, which is more palatable than the $140 to $180 that we were seeing in a lot of the group buys. So you know, GMK sets are kind of coming down in price because they're starting to get a little bit more strategically designed, which I think is good. You know, the currency conversion rate for the dollar to euro now is doing pretty well, and like you mentioned, the tax returns coming out for a lot of people in the U.S. Over the last month or so. People can afford key sets right now. Like, it's cool. It's a cool thing.
Well, what none of that does explain is the fact that they're selling just as well in Europe, and we haven't had any of that in terms of the tax rebates over here. So I don't know what's happened in terms of Europe's community, but we've suddenly banded together as well, and we're starting to make these all happen more. You know, the vendors over here are really happy with how things are selling. So
absolutely,
the community's doing great. It's good news.
It's good.
But Is this, and it leads me on to my second point about this, which is this a bubble? Is this something that's going to pop at some point? Is Mizu going to be the calling card for this? Is it going to be, you know, are we going to have a bit of a break period where there is no GMK sets run for a little while? What's going to happen next? And I guess there's no real answers to that. We just have to wait and see. But it's something to really watch and keep our eye on, because it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be an interesting few months.
Straight Classy gifting a tier 1 sub to Nebulant, thank you very much for that, as well as Talisman Solutions gifting a tier 1 sub to Riot on the Bay, which marks 112 gifted subs for him in this channel. So thank you so much, guys. Appreciate that.
Also, shout out to Crunchy Meatloaf with a great username.
That's great.
Subscribed for 3 months, and he says 2020 Mech Madness GMK Waves key set of the year, calling it. Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
There's going to be so many more GMK sets in 2019 than there was in 2018 too.
Yeah, and it's stiff competition. You've got Waves, you've got Mizu, and Mizu is looking fantastic.
Mizu.
Yeah, I know it's a favourite of yours.
I love Mizu. Yeah.
We've got Dixie teasing 8088. You know, I know Janglad's got some more stuff in store. I know the Renzu, the guy behind Mizu's got some more things in stock after Mizu. Kind of along
and you know, like It's Undone mentions right now Olive. Olivia's probably going to be launching her next key set this year, I imagine. So that could be big. Obviously, she claimed the throne with Olivia for 2018. So maybe she'll have a repeat win, and GMK Olive will just blow everything else away.
Yep, and then we've got Zambumon with Striker and Nautilus Nightmares. We've got other
Nautilus
EU
Nightmares.
sets.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
So good.
You know, we might have GMK Maga run. You know, that might happen. That might be a thing. There's all sorts of things that could be happening.
All right, now you're muted on stream.
hey, if the people want it, the people get it. Nia Johnson's got a great chat with Oblivion V2. You know, there is going to be so much going on from a key set base. You know, it's
it's gonna be something. Pilot says Brian's O face. So what I yeah, okay.
That was when we were talking about Mizu.
That was my O face. Anyways, well, let's not derail too much here. GMK Waves going on right now. Make sure you hop in on that if that's your thing. $120 base kit, lots of other kits as well. Really, really epic, interesting NovelKeys kit. And you can pick that up over on Canon Keys. So
and it's got the J buy seal of approval as well because I've already bought it.
Yeah. I will hopefully be buying it, but we'll have to see. The problem I have with this is if I buy it, I have to get the base, I have to get the novelties, and I have to get the Rama cap. Otherwise, I'm not going to feel right about it.
Okay.
And so I have to. I might have to sell something to like come up with that.
Fair enough.
We'll see. We'll see. Anyways, let's move on to our next topic, which is another GMK key set that just started. Jay had mentioned just a few moments ago, this is GMK Nines for $130 right now in group buy. And unlike the last couple sets that we've talked about, there's only one kit for this. So you get base kit only. And to be fair, base kit's pretty rich.
It is. It's a fully featured base kit. It's got support for all of the usual layouts. It hasn't culled the numpad. It hasn't culled ISO or anything else. It's got a lot of support in there. It's got your TKL, your full size, your 75%, your 65%, your alternate bottom rows, your Sangan, everything else. It's a really full featured base kit, but it's still only, you know, up at $129.99. So for this, it's broadly the same price as GMK Calm Depths was, with you know a fewer keys in there. It's not quite as big a base kit, but it's broadly the same price. So I'm really down for that. It's not much more expensive than some of the other sets. So for example, it's only $10 more expensive than Waves is. So it's interesting.
And the base kit has many more keycaps.
It does. It does. For $10, you're getting a lot more for your money in terms of just sheer keycaps. But this set is using stock colours, so this is U9 and N9, which I think it was originally called GMK U9 N9 until yours truly came up with GMK Nines in the Top Clack Discord. And
was that you?
Yeah. Genuinely.
Wow.
That was me. Yeah. We were talking about it the other day. I was the first one to suggest it, but I really like this. Again, this is something else I've already picked up because it's just a lovely, good-looking set. This will go with so many boards. It's classy, it's understated, it's not too fancy. It's completely the opposite from what Waves is. You know, you've got a flashy set there. This is just one of those classy sets.
This is really mundane, and I mean that in a good way. This is a set I would totally buy. So, yeah, pretty nice. I dig the icon mods. I dig the $130 price point, which is pretty reasonable for the amount of compatibility that you get. I think you get the accent keys in there as well. No novelties, but you know, what novelties are you gonna do on GMK Nines anyways? Yeah,
there is a Rama keycap, I believe, that's not mentioned on here. That's got the Nines logo on there as well. So I think there is going to be some novelties that come with it via Rama, or it might even be Salve, and I can't remember.
Oh yeah, I think I did see that.
So that is happening, yeah. So do watch out for those guys as well. So that's interesting. It's not Rama anymore; it's Salve now. Yeah, I knew it changed from one to the other. I don't remember which way around it was. But there is a novelty keycap that's going to be made, which will be CNC milled and all of that kind of good stuff as well. One of the interesting things that's worth bearing in mind with this is because it is a GMK stock color set, it's not going to have all of the samples sent backwards and forwards. We know what N9 and U9 look like because people have samples. So this should actually, even though the group buys run at the same time as Waves, it should ship before Waves does. So you know, there's all that kind of thing to think about as well. And it's going to be interesting to see where in GMK's queue, this one actually slots for production, but it should be faster than a lot of the custom keycaps sets that have got custom colors in there.
Yeah,
so,
not to mention it won't have to hit a 250 plus MOQ. Stock colors means it'll only have to hit 150, which is going to be a breeze for this key set.
Yeah, I think
no doubt
day
in my
one
mind
it was
there.
already halfway there. So yeah, day one it was halfway there already. So again, another keycap set that's going to hit MOQ. It looks great. It's going to be fantastic. It's good. I think this is going to be one of those classic sets, like we talked about Modern Dolch being earlier on. I think this is going to be one of those sets that people look for a long time, and just want to use because it is such an understated key set, and it will work with pretty much anything. No matter what you put it on, it's going to look pretty good. So yeah.
And I love that style of key set. When I don't have to think about what board I need to put it on to look good.
Yeah. I would use the word understated rather than mundane. I know what you were trying to say, but I think that doesn't.
Well, not all of us went to fancy university and learned lots of words and stuff. I'm just a scrub. But you guys know what I mean. Come on.
Yeah,
you guys have been with me for over 2 years now. You guys know how I talk. But yeah, looking pretty darn good. I might try to pick this up as well, and then just I don't know, not eat for the month. Maybe I could probably lose the weight anyways. I should. So yeah, cool stuff.
Okay,
continuing our train of GMK key set launches. We were almost blindsided by this one from Massdrop and Tombury. GMK Eclipse for $120. This set has been in the making for a while now.
Yep. I think we covered the IC a few months ago, and that was a rehash of the original IC from a couple of years back. This has been doing the rounds for a long time. I know Tombury's been working on this for a while, and he's really excited about the set. He's been promoting it for a little bit on Instagram and things like that. But I wasn't expecting it to go into group buy this quickly, to be honest. I'm surprised it just seems to have gathered pace really fast. From what was quite a slow burn from the original interest check, it's gathered pace really fast, and all of us it's here. And it came up with little fanfare. It just appeared on Massdrop without too much.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We were almost blindsided by it, honestly. I had no idea it was coming. Then I got the email, and I was like, "What? What?"
Yeah.
Regardless,
what do you think of it, Brian? Because my initial thoughts on looking at the final design is that it's Mizu Dark.
Okay. I could see that. I think it looks all right. I personally prefer Mizu to this, personally.
Same. I agree. Yeah, I do too.
I think the $120 core kit price is all right. Again, this is another one of those sets that we've been talking about that has the cut down core kit. So you get no numpad here, and maybe a little bit of lacking compatibility, but you get a fair amount of stuff, including your ISO enter there.
Yeah, well, you get most stuff. So you get 60%, 65% TKL, alternate bottom row, HHKB, and you do, importantly for me, you get ISO. That is there. So this is basically the same as the Nines kit sans numpad. So that's the difference here. There's literally the numpad, and that's a $10 difference.
Yeah. So one of the cool things about this set, though, is we do see price drops pretty significantly.
Yes.
So if this doesn't hit 500 MOQ, it's going to remain at $120. If it does hit 500, it drops to $105 for the core kit, which is a lot more attractive. And at 1,000 units, which is maybe stretching it a little bit, it might hit it, it might not. But if it does, it drops down to $95. And when was the last time you saw a sub $100 GMK set, Jay?
Hamon was the last one.
Yeah. Well, that was wasn't that at 100? Wasn't 100 the final drop price of that, or was it cheaper?
No, it was $99.99. That's under $100 in my book.
Get out of here.
I'm technically correct, which, as we discussed earlier, Brian, is the only definition of correct. So, yeah, it was under $100, but if this hits $95, it will be the cheapest GMK set we've seen. That's a full-fledged set, and we have seen cheaper mod sets and things like that, and alpha sets and things that we talked about before. But in terms of a whole fully fledged set at $95, it will be the cheapest one we've seen.
Yeah.
So
I think it looks good. I definitely don't think it looks bad. It looks like a set designed by Tombury. So I think if you he kind of has like the same kind of like contrast, I feel like, across a lot of his sets. So, you know, maybe if you like the kind of contrast between stuff like Carbon, then you might like this as well. I think it's a good looking set. And, you know, being on Mass Drop and designed by Tom Bree, there's the potential that this will sell very well.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll do okay. I don't think I'll have any problems hitting MOQ. What I do like about this set is the fact that it's got a series of additional kits to give you accent keys. So whilst I might not join for the actual drop itself because I prefer Mizu, and this feels like a little bit Mizu dark to me. I'm not trying to take anything away from the key set. I think it looks really nice. It's just not for me. I prefer that lighter look of Mizu. I do really like the accent kits, so where you get the escape keys, the enter keys, the arrow keys, and all that kind of stuff. You get, I think there's a purple one, there's an orange one, there's a pale blue one. I'm tempted to pick up a couple of those, the purple and the orange, because I think they look quite nice, and they could be used with other kits as well. So I think there's a lot of opportunity within this. I would go so far as to say I don't like the novelties.
Here's a question for you, Jay. Why is there a pumpkin novelty?
So the reason there's a pumpkin novelty is because of the orange accent keys to give it a Halloween theme. I did see someone talking about that.
But Halloween isn't the theme of Eclipse, is it?
Nope. Nope. The theme of Eclipse is, you know, that astro.
Yeah, these like comets or whatever these are, like that sort of makes sense. I get that. The pumpkin, I don't see the reason to include the pumpkin novelty just because you're including some orange keycaps. That doesn't really fit the theme.
Here's what Tom Bree and Mastrop have to say about it. Also available is a novelty kit, which includes a moon, so it wasn't an asteroid, it's a moon, apparently, and a pumpkin novelty for a natural twist. So that's your answer. The pumpkin novelty is there to give it a natural twist. Okay.
Playing the bad guy like I tend to like to now these days, natural twist is not a good reason to do that. I don't see what the pumpkin has to do with eclipses or moons or space or astronomy.
Beadlock says, is there a lunar eclipse near October? That might be half an answer. I'm not sure I get it either, but if people want it, cool, I get it. I'm struggling to understand the cross theme of the pumpkin with the moon. Yeah, this is when I went back to when we were talking about the Jules earlier on. I said that designers sometimes need to give a rationale for decisions. This is a good example of that. There needs to be a rationale for why those keys are there.
Natural twist is not a rationale there. I'm sorry. No, I gotta be mean on this one, but I mean, despite that, the set still looks pretty good. I like that they have a 40s kit here that looks pretty nice too. Spacebar's kit, good stuff. They have 3 different colored accent kits, as Jay mentioned, purple, orange, and a pale blue. Cool.
Yep.
Got a lot of customization options here, and the prices are pretty reasonable. So, yeah.
Yeah. The 40s kit's good. That adds support for nearly all 40s. It's pretty good. I think the only one it doesn't support there is the Pearl, but everything else is supported, so that's good.
There's someone asking for an exploded view of the set. I'm not sure if they're trying to troll me because we were talking about exploded keyboard views, but I'm going to show it on stream one more time just because, you know, for the sake of it. Cool.
Is that
there you
go. That's just a base kit.
I need imploded renders.
Imploded.
Actually.
Okay.
Imploded renders are the future, guys. 2020, calling it now.
Yep, Talisman, I did post the link in chat, but there's been a hell of a lot of chat going on about that, so...
Yeah, it was...
I'll paste the link again, though, just in case you want it. There you go.
Yeah, you know, when Jay and I are together, links usually get posted because he does it. Yeah, so we're pretty good about that, but throughout a lot of the episodes, you know, especially on episodes like today, we tend to have a lot to say on a lot of the topics, so it can get lost up in chat a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Speaking of,
okay, so another keycap set, but this time
group buy.
Not GMK, but it is a group buy. We've got one we've been talking about for a little bit, which is the GOK Kuro Shiro PBT keycap set. So this is a Japanese themed keycap set, which is, you know, a black on white set, and it looks quite attractive and quite pretty from first from looking at some of these renders. But it's an ePBT set. There's lots of different kits, but there is, for the first time, I think, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but a Rama artisan for an ePBT set. Is that the first time we've seen that? I think it is.
I don't know. You very much could be right. It's a pretty awesome looking one too.
It is, yeah. I was going to talk about that as we got to it. But if anyone else can think of another ePBT set that has a Rama artisan, I'd be interested. Frostfire says, was there a Rama artisan for heavy industry? I don't think there was. I genuinely don't think there was. I think it was just Rama standard caps for that. But if there was one, I'd be interested to know, because as far as I know, this is the first ePBT set with a Rama keycap. But talking about the keycap set, there's the Japanese mod kit, which gives you pretty much all of the kits that you need, and gives you all of that layout set. There's the international kit, which gives international users such as myself all of the keys we need for there. So that's all your DE and other languages and things like that. Numpad, plank, spacebar, icon mod kits, the actual base kit set as well, and then the Rama keycap. So there's lots going on there, lots of kits. What are your thoughts on this set, Brian? Do you like it?
I do actually. There's a couple reasons I do like this. I like the Rama novelty, and I kind of like the way they broke this up. So this is definitely more kits than we're used to seeing for an Enjoy PBT set, but there's kind of a lot going on here. So we have the base kit, which starts at $54. What does it start at? It is $54. Sorry. So that base kit is going to include. I have to scroll up and down because the way this site is set up. Yeah. But so the base kit includes this, which, as you can see, doesn't really include very many mods. Includes virtually no mods. So
what I would like to say about this, though, is it does include options for multiple bottom rows. There's 4 or 5 different options for bottom rows on there. You're right, there's no mods, but it's got multiple accent keys for the different enters, and in particular, it's got ISO in this as well. Same with the arrow keys and all of these fancy sub-legends as well, and multiple options for the escape keys and things like that. I think that's quite fully fledged for a base set that doesn't have the modifiers in it.
So I mean, and that's why it's $54, because it obviously doesn't include the modifiers. Then you have your choice of modifiers between Japanese mods and icon mods. Now, obviously, longtime watchers of the show probably know that I am always in favor of icon mods. I love them. I prefer them over text mods, generally speaking, and I think this is an awesome kit to have. If you include one of these modifier kits with the base kit, you get a pretty rich set in terms of compatibility. A lot of options. Yeah, I do like that they have the Japanese mods, though. I think this is kind of the win for me, because we've had, quote unquote weeb legends and hiragana sub legends in the community for quite a while now. But how often do you get Japanese legends on the mods? Because that doesn't really happen. Yeah, so this is really awesome to find in an aftermarket set, and I think that that alone is going to make this set very successful. I know this set's going to sell well either way because it's a black and white set, and people love that. People love Weeb Legends. People like a good price.
And it's worth calling out that these are only $43 for these Japanese mods as well. So
exactly, yes.
Getting to GMK kind of prices for the full set, there's a lot of keys in those two kits. If you've got the Japanese mods and the base kit, there's an awful lot of keys and compatibility.
Well, I mean, you can get the base kit and then either of the mod kits for under $100.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah. Actually, I made a fun little note in our news doc that the most expensive kit in this entire package is the Rama cap. Because it is. Everything else is it's $58. Everything else is cheaper than that. But I mean, the prices are pretty reasonable here. I mean, unsurprisingly, usually Enjoy PBT tends to be less money per cap compared to something like GMK. So I have no doubt this is going to sell well. I actually might jump in on this too. I really want these Japanese sub-legend modifiers. I think that is just the bee's knees.
I agree. I think if I'm going to get this, which I might do, it ends 25th of April, I'm probably going to get the full Japanese set and maybe the spacebar and international kits on top because it's cheap enough to do that. One of the interesting things as well, though, is they actually use a GMK colour for an ePBT set on this one. So they're using GMK WS1 And there's actually the GMK colours of the keycaps, their stock keycap colours, used as part of this interest check, which I do find kind of amusing. But yeah, WS1 is the actual colour for that, so it's easy for people to understand what that colour is because it's been used in a fair few sets now.
Yeah, so I mean that's obviously a fairly bright white. Then we have what looks to be a fairly dark black. So it's going to be a very high contrast set. A lot of people into that. Some people maybe not so much. I think it's going to be very successful.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think this is going to sell well, no matter where you are. It's something that's got something for everyone.
Yep, absolutely. So make sure to hop on that. It's in group buy phase right now. I forgot to check when it ends, but I'm doing that now. Sorry about that, guys. April 25th is when the group buy ends, and the lead time is expected to take 45 to 60 days, which seems pretty quick. Seems oddly fast, actually.
Yeah, it's ePBT, though. They turned out Heine's set quite quickly as well, so I think that's fair. Straight Classes saying, look at the underside of the Rama cap. You should get this up on stream, actually, Brian, if you can, because it's quite amusing.
Is there a picture of the underside of it?
If you just go right up to the very top, and then in the
yeah.
You got it.
The uwu.
There we go. Thank you, Classy, for pointing that out. Thanks,
wow, nice. Yeah. Wow. Is that actually going to be there? Or is that just like a joke?
Yeah, it will be.
Oh, that's fantastic.
All of the Rama caps usually have something written on the inside bevel that says the set or something like that.
I didn't actually know that.
Yeah, and Gok's in chat as well. So Gok is the designer of this set. So fair play on this set, Gok. This is fantastic. We both really like this. So well done, this dude.
Yeah, definitely.
And he says that that's his logo. So I really like seeing that. But yeah, Rama usually puts Rama X something on the inside of these keycaps when he does them. I've got a couple that have got them on for different sets and different things. So there's usually some kind of nod to the designer or to the keycap set that it's part of or something like that. So yeah, it's cute.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's cool.
It's the little details sometimes make a big difference, but it is really good to see Gok in chat and fair play on the set. We both really like.
Yeah, good job on the set. I'll probably be picking this up, honestly. This is quite nice. All right, let's move on to our next topic, which is pretty interesting.
Should we talk about something different now, Brian? Something other than GMK keycaps?
No, we're still talking about GMK. More GMK. More GMK equals more better.
More better, yeah. Now this is a little bit different though. So this is very much completely. This isn't a set as such as it is an opportunity to grab different keycaps in GMK colours. So what it is GMK blank keycaps, which is any row or size in standard GMK colours that you want, you can order, and you can order individual keycaps down to a specific number. So if you want 1 2U backspace in X color, then you can have that. If you want it in T9, for example, you can have that. You can order that as long as it then hits MOQ. So this is going to have an MOQ per key. So there's a massive spreadsheet that you can take a look at and go and have a, fill in your options and all of that kind of stuff. But effectively, what this is a group buy for any key in any GMK color as long as they hit MOQ. And Scud, who's behind this, would do the whole sorting by hand. He'd have all of the keys shipped to his house. He'll sort them all out by hand and then ship them out to everyone that orders them. That sounds like a massive mammoth task for him to do, but he did do it last year for Signature Plastics Blanks, and he hand sorted through 28,000 keycaps from SP. So the guy's got the I wouldn't say talent; it's not necessarily talent, but he's got the willpower to actually get through that. Because I just look at the pile and go, not
happening.
I just put it off, and they never get shipped. It'd be, it'd be in a GMK Hyperfuse R1 situation where it'd be 4 years and nothing had shipped. But
my T9 backspace.
My 2U T9 backspace. Why isn't it shipped?
Yeah, I mean, what this guy is trying to accomplish here, and if he pulls it off, I mean, it's nothing short of heroic. It's nothing short of Herculean.
For sure.
The amount of effort that it takes to coordinate and then sort and ship this kind of group buy as one person is beyond monumental. It's actually insane.
It is, and it's not just the sorting. So this is the really, really interesting part. He's going to have to sort out the different prices for different keycaps that hit different price breaks at different quantities, not just how many people order each one. So if you've got this 2UT9 backspace keycap that's a blank that hits 150 MOQ, but then you've got a whole home row of those alpha keys that hit 3000 MOQ, then you've got two different prices for the keycaps that are significantly different. So everybody's costs are going to vary massively depending on what you've ordered and how many keycaps and colours you've bought, and depending on how many other people want the same things as you. So this isn't just a Herculean effort in the physical sorting, it's actually all of the digital sorting as well, sorting out the prices, the costs to everyone, collecting those funds, and then making that payment to GMK. This is a massive, massive undertaking. If he can pull that off, I'm going to be really, really impressed.
Yeah, this is insane, because all of the ordering is done via a Google spreadsheet. And you can order per key. Like, hey, I want this many of this color of this row. Like,
yeah,
that is insane. Like, it makes my head hurt thinking about it. I could never do something like this by myself. Are you kidding?
No. Can you just imagine when he gets just some big bags of keycaps and he's just sat there in his living room trying to sort through them? That's going to be an insane amount of work. And working out the spreadsheet to actually make sure that everyone's charged the right amount of money for keycaps that have hit different price breaks depending on what they've got in their order, that's going to be huge as well. I'll be really impressed if he manages to pull this off in a timely, quick and easy manner. And I absolutely am not underestimating the amount of work that this guy's going to have to do to accommodate it. It's an absolutely huge undertaking.
Yeah, I think one kind of benefit here that's going to be really cool for a lot of people is you're effectively going to be able to make your own blank GMK set, and if you're using colors that a lot of other people are using, it all counts towards the same MOQ, you guys get a lower price. So you guys might actually be able to make it out with like a relatively generic or popular stock color, like a full key set of that, or like a full two-tone key set or something, for a really reasonable price, because the price breakdowns, they are pretty big. So at only 150 MOQ, which is the minimum, each 1U cap, for instance, is $1.26 US. But at something like 500, it drops to 78 cents. And then at 1,000, it drops to 65 cents. Like, it goes down pretty substantially. So, I mean, I think if people can actually coordinate and people use a lot of the same colors, like, this could be a really big thing for a lot of people. It probably loses a lot of its, price to performance benefits if you kind of start going really wacky on what you want, and using a lot of colors that people aren't using. Then it could get a little expensive. But wow, this is just going to be a huge bit of work. But I fair credit to the guy. He's all up for this. He's done it for SP before. He's wanting to do it. That's fantastic. Now, what this does, as you said, this is quite interesting. It gives people the opportunity to get a blank copy of sets that have stock colors. So if you want a set that's got stock GMK colors, like Nines, for example, but you don't want to have legends on them, you can absolutely do this by ordering it in here. Anything that does have custom colours, such as Olivia, you're not going to be able to get that because the colours just don't exist in the GMK stock range. But you are going to be able to come up with some sort of approximation of that if you really wanted to. So, there's a lot of opportunity for people to mix and match and do things differently here. And I know we talked the other week about people mixing, matching alphas and mod sets and things like that. We didn't really see it anymore. But this is a time where I think we'll see quite a lot of people get creative with what they want to do with these keycap sets and, come up with new, different things for their boards. So I'm excited to see what people do. Yeah, no, this is something I think people should generally be supporting, because you don't really get this opportunity otherwise. Because the way GMK sets have always worked in the past is like one person designs it or something, another person runs it maybe, and then that's the key set that you get. You order it, and that's the key set that you get. But here, you can be creative yourself. You can actually make the colors of the sets that you actually want. For stuff that isn't on the community. Like you are the limitation here, which is really, really interesting, because that's not usually the case.
Yeah, and the interesting thing as well is he's got keys that we don't see in all GMK sets that are available here. So a lot of times we don't see windowed keycaps in GMK sets anymore. I think the last one we did see them in was muted. We saw them in that. But you can order the 1U LED window keys for each row if you really wanted to do. And you can also have LED stepped and unstepped caps lock. And there's multiple options for ISO enter and all sorts of other things as well, space bars and all of that kind of stuff. one thing that it's really, really important to call out on this is that people who submit a form and say, I want these keycaps, and then don't pay for them, could end up influencing the MOQs for certain keycaps. And after invoices being sent out, unpaid invoices may negatively affect the actual costs for things. So it's really, really important that, guys, if you are going to go through with this, you need to make sure that you are ready to pay for your order, and that you do so in a timely manner, because it's going to be critical to this group buy is having very few people fail to pay their invoices. It's not going to be like a normal group buy where it doesn't really matter because there's always someone else to move on to. This could really mess up all of the pricing if some things are close to certain MOQ breaks and price breaks, because they'll make a big difference for a lot of different people. So just bear that in mind when you are ordering, guys, but I don't want that to put you off. I think it's just something that needs to be addressed. Yeah.
Long story short, don't order this if you can't afford it. If you aren't planning to pay for this, do not even join the doc for the sets. At all. Just don't. So there is that. Really, really cool project. We wish this guy the best because he's doing an outrageous amount of work for the community running this group buy, and hopefully it goes super duper well.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this goes, and I'm going to pick up some stuff on here, some modifier keys and things like that for some of the sets and projects I've got going on. So absolutely. Gios puts it nicely, i.e. if you're going to order, don't be a dick. Yeah, just, be a good guy.
Either order and pay for it, or, don't do anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
No in between there. All right, let's move on to our next key set.
Is this another GMK Keycap set, Brian?
Surprisingly, it's not. So we're moving out of the GMK territory for once, and moving back over to... I actually don't know if this is SP. Is this SP?
I didn't see actually whether it was SP. I'm scrolling.
We don't know.
It doesn't say, which tends to suggest it's not.
It's not. Yeah. Technically, that usually is how it is. If they don't actually, pimp the SP name, then it's probably not manufactured by SP. Regardless, this is a SA profile set in double shot ABS, and this is a set that we covered in Interest Check a while back that Jay struggled to understand because this is more of a weeb thing. So this is
the reference for it, but
this is Jack Studios' SA Hunter, which is a Hunter x Hunter theme set, which is a manga and anime. One very dear to my heart. I think it's fantastic. And this set is themed around a character of that series called Killua, and he's kind of like an assassin. It's like a child assassin. He's pretty cool. And this set is kind of just themed around that. So the first thing that jumped out at me was the price, $190. Let's see, $190. What does $190 get you? So here's the compatibility that you get for $190. What do you think?
And whilst people are looking at that, let's break this down a little bit. That price, $190 for an SA keycap set.
It's a lot.
This is not an SP keycap set, because if it was, they would have told us, which tends to suggest it's either KP Republic or MaxKey, because they're the only other companies with the tooling to do SA keycaps. And MaxKey are the only ones that do ABS double shots. KP Republic do PBT, because that's what their models are designed for. So that suggests that this is going to be MaxKey by deduction. I might be wrong on that, but that's my guess at the minute, best guess. MaxKey sets are known for being cheap, not for being expensive.
Sub $100.
Yeah, there's a few novelties in here, but nothing that's going to drive up the prices that much. The colours are okay, so they're trying to match Pantones, but MaxKey have done that before successfully with Calm Depths and a number of other things. I genuinely do not understand why that price is so high, and I think it is a little bit of an absurd price, if I'm completely honest.
I agree. Like you said, we get some cool novelties in there, but look at how lacking this compatibility is.
There's nothing. You've got an alternate bottom row, stepped caps lock or normal caps lock, two different options for your Hunter key, and you can split your shifts, and that's it. Yeah. That's all you can do.
You don't even have a 1.5U backspace.
Nope, you can't do HHKB. You can't do 65%. You can't even do 75%. You can do TKL or 60% or full size.
Yeah, a lot of very, very standard layouts only. I don't know, man. I don't mind the colorway. I think the colorway looks fine. I love the theme, being someone that adores Hunter x Hunter. But man, this is a hard pass for me. $190. That That is genuinely too high. And you know, I'm gonna continue my streak of a bad guy and say $299 is the you know, the quoted MSRP here. I think is generally what that means. It's kind of what Amazon does as well. They'll inflate the price and then slash it to make it look like you're getting a deal. In what world would this ever have been $300?
It wouldn't. Just full stop, it wouldn't. And again, I think we're both playing the bad guy in this one, because I cannot think of any way of justifying that price. I would be very surprised if this is paying royalties to the original studio that did the manga. If it is, that might help with understanding some of the price, but I very much
that's true. That's a great point, because when we saw the recent Star Wars DSA set that was run on NovelKeys, that was also pretty darn expensive for what it had in it. But that was also because they had to pay the royalties for that. So, you know, we might be getting something similar here.
I would be very surprised if they are, just given you know, the status of it and where it's been run from and things like that. I don't know the details of that, but that's the only possible reason I can think of for the price being so high. And if that's not the case, and there's no need for royalties because it's not directly using any of their copyrighted things, and it's just influenced by, and that's how they've worded it, you know, it's based on and it's influenced by, they aren't saying it actually relates back to anything, then yeah, I can't justify the price any other way. I genuinely just can't justify
I think this text under the price really kind of tells the story of this. 5 days left, 13 units sold. This is a pretty cut and dry case, guys. Pack it up. This isn't getting made.
Well, I don't know. Knowing Jack Studio, they probably have already paid for this, and they're just trying to. They'll be in production somewhere, and they'll sell them. The fact that they've got manufacturer's recommended selling price on here of $299, which Massdrop or Jack Studio have made up, that's their prerogative. That's what they do. I suspect that this will end up being made, but it won't sell anywhere near its MOQ on here, and it'll be funded privately and then be sold privately at a higher price. So if you do want it, that's probably the best price you're going to see it for. Is it going to sell well? No. Is it overpriced? Yes. Does it have good compatibility? No. And I just don't have any support for this set, I've got to be honest.
13 units sold, man. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I genuinely have. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on to the final topic of our news doc, which is not a key set. I mean, I guess this could have actually been in the keyboard section. I didn't think about it, but yeah, you know, kind of go either way. It's a macro pad. It's the group buy for the Ellipse, which is a pretty interesting macro pad with 3 Borns or Alps knobs and 3 MX switches. So let me find the pictures real quick.
Click on the link.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. So this is interesting. It's a little macro pad. Rotary encoders, again, rotary encoders are becoming big. They're becoming massive. We're
3 of them even.
Now. Yeah, there's 3 on this particular thing, and 3 buttons as well. So you've got 3 keys as well to do what you want with. I think this looks fun. I think this has potentially got a fair bit of use for productivity users. It's cheap, $50. It looks nice. The case is fairly standard. You know, it comes with everything you need in the kit. I think it's all right. I like this. I'm tempted by it. I've got to be honest.
Yeah. Base price is $50, including PayPal fee. Very nice. And yeah, like Jay mentioned, you get like everything with this. So you get like everything to build a kit. I don't think it comes with the DSA caps.
It doesn't. No.
So you'll have to source your own caps, but it does come with knobs for the rotary encoders.
Interestingly, one thing that you've got an option for here is the bones. So you can have a smooth or you can have detent, so you can actually feel that change as you twist the actual rotary encoder. So you can either have it smooth or almost clicky, so you can feel how it's feeling. Or you can actually get rid of them entirely and put Alps switches in there if you really wanted to as well. So that's interesting that they've got some different options for it on there.
Yeah, I don't know much of anything about rotary encoders, to be honest. I don't know what a Borns one is. I don't know what the Alps one is. I don't know what the pros and cons to each of them are, why you might want to upgrade one over the other. Do you happen to have any idea on that?
Yeah, the first is the feel when you twist them. So when you twist them, Yeah, sorry, you passed it. Alps rotary encoders. Yes, sorry, that I didn't mean Alps switches when I said it. But when you twist them, you can either have like a smooth motion, so there's no grinding or anything like that, or you can have like a click, so you can feel the indents as you move it around. So you can have almost like settings. So you've probably played with these without realizing on stereos. Like sometimes on a car stereo, as you turn the knob, you can feel it click underneath your fingers, and sometimes you turn them and they're just completely smooth all the way around. That's the kind of main option that you've got here, or you can go to the Alps one. I have no idea what's special about the Alps one. I've not had any look at that in the past. I'll have a quick scan down and see if I can see anything about it.
Yeah, so basically we have the detents would be the tactile variety, and the smooth would be the linear variety if we're comparing this to switches.
Yep.
All right. Very, very interesting.
I'm looking at the Alps one now. Alps brand fancier encoders that unfortunately has to cost a bit extra. No, it's just an Alps branded, so they're exactly the same. It's just an Alps brand.
Gotcha. So, a few specs on the PCB is it will be QMK compatible. It is USB-C, and it does have RGB underglow, which is pretty darn interesting. Orders will be capped at 40 units. At least that's what he's saying right now. So he's probably going through this all himself, and he doesn't want to overexert himself and do something that he's not able to do, deliver what he's not able to deliver. So he's putting a little bit of a cap on that. He does have some limitations on the colors that he has as well. So he has 7 black cases, 25 translucent diffused cases, and 27 clear cases. So you do have some options there. Looking pretty cool. This is definitely a good way to get your rotary encoder fix if you've not tried it.
Absolutely. He also wants to do at least 25 orders if he can, to just make sure he's comfortably running it. So between 25 and 40, for a small group buy, I think for someone who's managing that at home, that's completely acceptable. I know that feeling. I genuinely wouldn't want to do a big group buy personally without getting a vendor involved. After doing the Hyper 7s a couple of years ago, it's a hell of an amount of work. And that's, I can completely understand putting a limit on stuff. So I completely appreciate why he's wanting to do that.
Yeah. Definitely. Shout out to Pilot XJ for donating 500 bits. Thank you so much for that, man.
Thank you, man. Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, I like this. I think it's good, and it's nice to see something new in the community. And rotary encoders for the win. They seem to be the big new 2019, feature. So why not?
Yeah, and $50 for a full kit, pretty reasonable.
Absolutely, yeah, including shipping as well. So I think pricing, shipping, logistics, yeah. So yeah, looks good.
Cool. Good stuff.
Okay. So that does bring us on to the next section, which, as always, is our sponsor section. So Brian and I are going to talk through some of our sponsors and supporters in a few seconds. And then from there, guys, we'll move into our FAQ section. So if you do have any questions for us, you can start to think about putting those in the chat now. Make sure to tag us so we can see them using the @TopClack tag. And then both Brian and I can see those pop up. So if you've got any questions for us about anything, feel free to ask away. But with that, we're going to jump into talking about our vendors. So the first one up on the list today is NovelKeys. So this is Mike. Everyone knows and loves him. A few things that we've got ongoing on here. So the GMK Metropolis group buy is still ongoing, and you can not only buy the key set, but they've also got these fantastic desk pad mats. So you've got the base kits, the signs, all of the other keys and everything else. It looks fantastic. But the mat is what I'm really interested in for this as well. Now they look fantastic. They've got all of the designs, the colors that match and everything else. It looks really, really good and really smart and really help you set up. And they've also got cables that are available as well. If you're looking for some switches, then Mike's the place to go. If you're in the States, he's got NovelKeys cream switches, which everyone's been talking about, the all-pom variant. He's got Fey switches back in stock. He's got Gator and Ink switches back in stock. He's got the Kale Box Pink switch Brian and I talked about a few weeks ago on stream. And he's also got the Kale China style box switches as well, which have got some really interesting actuation points if you're interested in those. And then finally, the other big thing that he's got in stock is a new series of lubricants as well. So just want to touch on this briefly. Because most of these sold out almost immediately, and I was really frustrated by that. But they are coming back into stock. But all of the new lubes are going to be on there soon. Brian and I were both a little bit disappointed because we were a little bit late to the party on this one, and we didn't manage to get orders in for what we wanted to. But do keep an eye out on there. Mike is going to be restocking soon, so keep an eye out if you are in the view for some lubes.
Yes, and while you're there, don't forget to use the promo SpringClack for for your promo code, and that'll get you 5% off your entire order. That code does not work on group buy items anymore, though. Just keep that in mind, guys. That is just going to be in-stock items.
Yeah, and when the code changes, we will let you know by the announcements page on the Discord.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. So next up, we have Kono.store. It's got a few things going on, as usual. Like we talked about earlier, they have the GMK Nines group buy going on at $130 US for a pretty darn rich base kit in terms of compatibility and a pretty good-looking set as a whole. If you're still fiending for more and more GMK, like a lot of people are in the community, they are still running GMK Lime as well, which I think is an absolutely freaking gorgeous set. For $175, maybe a little on the high side if we're being honest, but the compatibility is ridiculous. There's like an absurd amount of kits in the base kit, so absurd amount of keys in the base kit, sorry. So that's still going on there. You can join that. They do have the Keystone mechanical keyboard series coming up pretty darn soon. You can join the waitlist for that. Talked about that a few weeks ago on the show. Very interesting switches going on there. Whole new line calling Silo switches. And from what I hear, they're going to be pretty darn awesome. Analog, the works, Beam Spring. If you're into that, you're probably going to like the clicky variant of this. So that's kind of what's going on there. They also have the Kira Stealth pre-order still going on too, which is that all-metal kind of stealth-looking Kira. The kind of charcoal gray aesthetic going on there for $300 with your choice of switches, or none, for a little bit cheaper of a price. So yeah, make sure to check those out when you guys get around to it.
Fantastic. And moving on, if you guys are looking for some Felios in your typing feel, then don't forget to check out Zeal PC. .net, and if you want to support the Top Clack, if you want to support Brian and I, then feel free to use our affiliate link, which is zealpc.net/TopClack. It gives us a small kickback. But Zeal, as always, has got a number of switches in stock and available at the moment, so if you want any of your tactile Zealios or Xylent versions, they are on the site and ready to try. I love the V2 tactile switches. They're fantastic. Probably my favorite tactile switch on the market right now. If silent linears are something more up your street, then don't forget to check out the Helios. Sadly, we've missed the Roselios and Securios group buy, but the orange Helios are available at the moment, which is a silent linear. I used those in my Zephyr build not so long back, and my wife complained that they are too quiet. So if you're looking for something that's really quiet, you know, they're an absolutely fantastic buy, and they feel just like a normal linear. There's no worries about bottom outs on them or anything like that. In terms of other products, Zeal's also got the 60 and 65% PCBs as well. So if you are in the market for a PCB that you want RGB and all of the kind of good stuff that Wilbur puts in these PCBs today, those are available on the site too, and as well as things like stabilizers if you're interested in them too. So don't forget to check out Zeal PC. Support the channel if you want by using our affiliate link, yeah, check out his site.
And just because we kind of forgot to mention it, we overlooked it, there's actually a Rama X Ion aluminum keycap group buy going on right now. Remember earlier in the show when I said that I had my #1 favorite Rama artisan is this one. Yeah. This looks freaking awesome.
I genuinely thought you meant the one from the Japanese set that we talked about a few minutes ago. I didn't think you meant this one. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so this is pretty cool. They have this going on right now for $40 to get that nice Rama X Ion logo. And Kuro Black or Moon Gray. So that's pretty awesome. I like this a lot because I really like Poner's Ion logo. It's just
I might have to buy this just to support Poner, to be honest.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. So speaking of awesome, as you might have noticed earlier on in the stream or sometime throughout, we do have another sponsor too. So KBDfans has just joined the ranks of Top Clack partners. And of course, they have lots of cool things going on as usual. Like you guys don't already know KBDfans. Let's be real here. But they have some pretty awesome things coming up, including the ePBT Extended 2048 kit, which launches on the 19th of this month. So that's your kind of AEK-inspired legend on your Enjoy PBT set. Then we also have the KBD8X Mark II, which I don't think it has an actual release date yet, but it should be coming up very soon. Price was just announced on this, $300, and I hear, rumor has it, that is going to be the high point, and it might actually go lower. So we covered that a few weeks back on the show. Really awesome looking keyboard and really awesome specs and options for the price. So really looking forward to that coming out.
Worth calling out that that's designed by AIO3 as well, so expect high quality because his stuff always rocks. So, you know, fantastic that Way's now working with some of the really high-end designers in the community as well.
Yep, it's going pretty darn well so far, if I do say so myself. And of course, they also have the group buy going on for Enjoy PBT Kuro Shiro, which includes designer Gok there. Really awesome stuff that we pretty much agreed was pretty awesome earlier in the show when we were talking about the news doc, looking quite nice. So yeah, shout outs to KBDfans for starting their partnership with us, and we look forward to continuing to work with them in the future. So,
absolutely, yeah.
Things going well. And if you know, you're like me and you wanna rock this "Don't Lose Your Way" shirt, which has a nice little KBDfans X Top Clack logo on the back, you can still pick one of those up on KBDfans in the shirt section.
Yeah, I have one. I'm not wearing it right now, but I do have one. Yeah.
Yeah, you should be wearing it. Shame on you.
I'll wear it next week. I'll make sure I put it on next week's show.
All right. I'm watching you. Always watching.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, so that's gonna conclude our sponsor spot. Shout outs to all of our sponsors, and shout outs to you guys, of course, for being here and watching and supporting. All the subs that you do, all the gift subs that you do, all the bits that you donate, all helps monumentally. So
Absolutely.
Thank you all so much for helping out. And now we will roll into the Q&A, as we always do. So if you guys have questions, we got answers. Make sure to use the @TopClack tag so we can see the questions a little bit easier. And then after that, we will be heading out. So let's wrap up some good questions, guys.
First question is from RSR Gavin. Top Clack, what news did I miss? I joined when you guys were discussing the Rama group buy. You have to watch the VOD, dude, because we're not going to recover everything. It was a packed news doc. Yeah, make sure you go check out the VOD afterwards if you want to catch up on what we talked about.
Yep, absolutely. Dixie Mech says, "Isn't that the price we called Top Clack?" What?
It means the price for the board, the AIO3 board that Way's running. So I think there was some discussion around what we thought the price might be, and I think in general the Discord thought that $300 was about the right sort of price. So,
yeah. So AIO3 came into the Top Clack Discord the other day, and he was posting the leak for that and sharing that the price was announced, and he had mentioned that was quoted to be like the higher price, like it might actually get lower.
Yep.
So that would be even cool. I think 300 is pretty reasonable for what it is already, but if it goes lower, like that is amazing for the community. Could you imagine that board at like $250? Like everyone would have to buy it. Like this is one of those boards.
It wouldn't even be a question. It would just sell hundreds.
Yeah,
and hundreds.
It wouldn't. Yeah, it would just be a question of when do I buy it?
Yeah. Which round do I jump in on? The first round, the second round, or the third round? Because it's going to keep on running at that price. It would make a fantastic starter board as well. So.
Yeah.
Blind Assassin calling out, I made the exploded view of the standard candy bar. Oh, that we asked for the other week, Brian, when we were talking about that. But didn't know where best to upload it for you to see. Well, most likely.
Are they still on the Key Company page?
I'm just going to have a look.
Because if they are, then I can bring that up pretty quickly. Once I find it. I'm not a pro at navigating the Key Company yet.
I'm waiting for the page to load. It's taking forever.
Why can't I find the candy bar? Oh my gosh!
I don't know.
Do I actually have to search it on the site? I don't even. It's like not even on the site. Am I blind?
Nope. I'm just gonna.
I can't find it in any of the sections.
It's not even there if you search candy bar. Okay, weird. Okay.
I know, right?
Blind Assassin, we would love to see it. If you want to paste the link to the picture in chat, we'll get it up.
Yeah, feel free to share that blog post if you want. You're more than welcome to link it.
Yeah.
But what happened to the Key Company page for the candy bar?
Where is it?
It's like it's not anywhere anymore. I just looked through literally every page this site has to offer, and I did not find it.
Yeah, I couldn't see it.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It's in the blog and updates section. It's not part of coming soon or products.
Okay, it didn't work in the search bar either when I searched for it. So
yeah, same. That's why I was like, it just has to be gone, I guess. Okay. Yeah, try to get it on that page too. That'd be great. But we'll take maybe we can take a look at the exploded view of the blog post when you share that. I don't see it in this blog post that we covered already.
Yeah, I don't see it on there either. Yeah, it's not there. It's not showing at the moment. If you want to share it, that was as Blind Assassin, we can, but it's not on there at the minute. I don't know if it needs to propagate through or something.
Yeah.
Just while we're waiting for Blind Assassin to come back with that, Dixie says, Top Clack, will you guys keep streaming all night so I can finish these mega mats with friends? It's 4:32 in the morning. We've been going for 2.5 hours.
I think Jay might actually
the end.
Jay might actually cease to exist if we went any farther than we're already going.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see how that goes. I'm starting to get bags under my eyes. You can probably see them now. And Upass saying, what builds do you guys have coming up? Well, I know why you've asked that question. I know damn well why you've asked that question. And the reason you've asked that question is because you know that I'm going to be building one of your boards or two of your boards in a few days' time.
Wow! What a sneak, man! What a slide!
It is. It's a self shill, or trying not to be trying to be a sneaky self shill. But just to recap, this Sunday I'm doing one of two builds depending on what comes in the post tomorrow. So I'm either going to build my antique copper HHKB TX60 if that arrives tomorrow or Saturday. If that doesn't arrive, then the next on my build is my Noxury 268 rebuild, ready for the meetup because Zondat wants to borrow it to display it at the meetup in the UK on the 20th. And then the week after that, so a week on Sunday, I'll be building two Cannon Keys boards that Upass has kindly sent me. One will be one of the proto runs of the Brutal 60, so a few people have received theirs already. Mine's been delayed for a little bit because I've been waiting for something else to be put into the package, which might keep you all very, very satisfied when I do two boards in one stream.
Well, I hear two is always more satisfying than one, Jay.
Is that how it is? I'll have to ask my wife.
Well, we'll have to take a poll here.
So a week on Sunday, which will be the week before I go to the UK meetup. And just to call out as well, that week of the 20th, the Easter weekend, there won't be a build stream for me that weekend because I'll be away at the meetup, so I won't be able to do a build then. But I'll be doing two the week before. They will be both Upass's Cannon Keys boards. One's the Brutal 60. You all know what the other one is. It's going to be the Satisfaction 75, and we'll have that on stream. So I'm really looking forward to doing that build. And I think Upass has been thinking me all evening. It's got a list of things for me to buy to sort out with that. So I think I need to put a battery in there and things because you can't ship them internationally and stuff. So yeah, so that's what's going to be. That's what's going to be there. Yeah.
Cool. I have a handful of group buys that I'm still waiting on to arrive. So it kind of just depends on whatever I get first. Like I'm waiting on the Zeno, waiting on the Southpaw full size. I'm waiting on the Leaf 60. I'm waiting on two other private group buys that I can't talk about.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't really have like anything going. I'm in this weird limbo where I don't have anything, and I'm also waiting on some Cristo lube because all the switches that I want to use, I want to lube first, and I have.
Yep.
I mean, I don't really have any boards to put anything in at the moment, but I'm also waiting on a custom plate for my Alpha X2, which I'm then probably going to send to get Cerakoted, and then I can build that. But that's probably still another month out or so.
Okay,
so.
Now you've just given a bit of a rundown on your build list. Let me just cover what I've got on my build.
We don't have that much time, Jay.
Really quickly, we've got an Exent, we've got a Royal 66, we've got a Dora 67, we've got a secret board from Pona, we've got the DCO one coming from Mech Boards, the Unicorn, a TR60, a KBD 67, which Waves made in a special colour for me. The E6.5 and ANSI, the Borsdorf should be here soon, which is a UK AEK ISO board. The Space 65, the list goes on. So there's lots coming, guys. Don't worry about build streams. We've got content. We have got content.
You just had to show me up, didn't you? You just had to. What a guy. No, you're done. You're done. Fam Guy 07.
Off the list.
Fam Guy 07 asking, is GMK MAGA real? What do you say, Jay? Is it a real set? Is it coming? Can you tell people that it's coming?
GMK MAGA, Make America Great Again, isn't real. But what I will say is GMK Americana is real.
Oh, I hate you so much. It's Undone is asking if MAGA will win Mech Madness 2020. No, it'll be the first key set out.
MAGA won't because MAGA won't exist, but GMK Americana's going to win it. Yeah, absolutely.
First one out. Chewy asking or saying, Jay, will you grow a beard as glorious as Brian's?
No, I need to actually shave because I haven't shaved in about a week, and that's not me. I need to trim all this down. So I will keep my beard, but I'll tidy it all up. I don't want to grow anything too big. Brian's beard is big enough for the both of us. So yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
Well, as long as one thing is. Jay Tribbiani is asking, when is Top Cat going to happen? That's a good question. I really do think Top Clack should run a key set, and I think Cat is probably the right profile to do it in. Just because I have been such an advocate for Cat ever since trying it the first time. I think it's fan-freaking-tastic, and we need more Cat sets in the community. The downside to Cat right now is, like, Key Creative is clearly struggling timeline-wise to be able to get out sets at a proper pace. So in the last year or whatever, there've only been one Cat set that's actually been released, which is very unfortunate. I'd like to see more. But, you know, what are we going to do? Well, we can just hope.
Yeah, we need to have a look and see, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Blindness, oh no, blog post, we'll have to go down. Oh, it has no way up there in the blog post, sadly. Oh, okay. Talisman Solution says, is the Quakeham's overlay label intentionally superimposed on the KBDfans slogan as a means to subliminally influence our buying decisions with your latest sponsor?
No comment. Do you guys spend most of the time looking at my name on screen? It's because when I sit straight up, it goes over my name, but when I slouch, and I tend to go back and forth a lot if I'm spending a long time in my chair. I know it's ergonomically awful. My back's already messed up enough as it is, but no, honestly, that was not intentional. But if it works, then hey, you know, whatever.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Buy a shirt. we get nothing, by the way. If you buy one of these shirts, Top Clack does not get any cut of the revenue or anything. I just think it's a cool shirt.
It is a cool shirt. It's cool. It's good quality material as well. It's really thick.
No, it is actually a nice shirt. Yeah, and I really like the way the logo looks on the back. I would show it off, but it's like kind of hard to do on stream.
Well, you could just turn around. We don't need to see your face. That's all right.
Well,
Japanese horror writer with the 1,000 bits. Thank you very much, dude. As well as 159 with satisfaction, hype, and 1,000 bits, and Talisman Solutions with his signature 1,111 bits. So there we go. Thank you for all the bits, guys. That was really cool.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone.
111 bits in about 30 seconds. Thanks, guys.
You guys are awesome.
Oh, Blind Assassin has posted that exploded view. If you want to have a look at that picture.
Okay. Yeah, I'll bring that up on stream. Hold on, real quick. Bam, there we go. Okay.
Okay, so we can see where the mount posts are now. So as we suspected, they're all within inside that first row on both the top and the bottom. There's nothing in the centre of the board or in the middle row. So that kind of makes sense. It's good to see how that works now. Thank you very much for sharing that, Blind Assassin.
Cool.
It is nice to see how that's going to work.
Yep. Nice. Very nice. Dixie Mech saying, maybe I should send you a Bower, Brian, to balance you out. Yes.
You send him one. Yeah, definitely send him one.
Yeah. I mean, Jay does not need a Bower. Jay already has so many boards that he's not going to have enough build streams for, and I have none. So we need to do something here to balance it out. I've had so many people asking me for build streams lately, and I'm like, I need lube and I need boards to come in before I can do like anything. Otherwise, I'm just sitting here like doing nothing, basically.
Yeah. I want to do. I do want to try the crystal lubes on a serious note though, because I do everything with the Crytox lubes at the minute, and that's kind of what I like. Whether it's the oils or greases, depending on what switches I'm doing. But I do want to try something new in the lube space. So I know UPass has said kind of that he's going to pop some of the crystal lubes in with my Brutal 60 and Satisfaction 75. So I will probably, if those arrive in time for my next week's. So a week on Sundays build streams, which I'm hoping they will do, then I will definitely be using lube switches from those, probably phase switches or something like that, using my linear. But I definitely want to try those out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shout out to Geo with 5 tier 1 subs gifted. Thank you very much for that, dude. So Cyrusus, the Jangster, Rope, Whitsellers, and Sean GMU. Well done, guys. And thank you, Gio. Thank you. Really appreciate that, man. That's amazing.
Heck yeah. Thanks, man. Love the name Top Cat. Should we call it Top Cat?
Top cat, yeah.
We really should design that set, though, honestly.
We should do, and there might be some stuff that we're talking about tomorrow that we can tie into, actually, which might be
true. Jay and I have a very long meeting together tomorrow to hash out some really cool things that are coming up for Top Clack.
Yeah, I'm going to get a couple of hours sleep after the stream, and then Brian and I are going to be on it tomorrow. So we're going to talk all of those things through. But I too have become a bit of a proposition of cat, because Brian, you lent me that set, and I've used it pretty much daily on my workboard.
It's surprisingly good, right?
Genuinely nice, yeah. The only problem I have with it is, whilst it has ISO support, it doesn't support split left shift, so I had to rebuild a board to be able to use it. But it is genuinely really nice, and I do really like using it. So yeah, it's good.
Nice. Geo gifting more subs.
Wow.
1, 2, 3. I think that's 4, 5. Wait,
4.
1, 2, 3,
yeah,
4.
4.
Bam, there you go. Thank you, Gio. 4 more gift subs.
Yeah.
He's trying to catch up to Talisman and gifted subs in the channel. He's at 95. He's coming up there.
Yeah, he's getting there. Yeah, so well done to Regen, Fire Bazooka, TPC 2084, and Neuro Winter as well. Welcome to the club, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gio. Dixie Mech donates 1,000 show love bits and says, "Thank you for being such an amazing part of Mech Madness. I'm truly thankful for the help. You are. We did like next to nothing compared to you, Dixie. Holy crap!
You did all the hard work. We just talked about all the work you did.
That's exactly how it worked too.
Yeah, you did all the hard work, and we just chatted about it and had a bit of fun talking about it. So no, we genuinely appreciate your efforts on that, dude, as well. And he's just done another 500 bits on top. So, Dixie, we love you, and we really appreciate what you did for Mech Madness, for the community, and everything else. You are the GOAT, you are the MVP, thank you very much for all of your support and assistance as well. And thank you for stepping in when I was on holiday as well. That was really, really nice of you.
Yeah, Dixie A+ guy, man. Seriously, good stuff.
Absolutely.
Every time I was like, hey, can I get some stats for the show? And he's like, I got you. And he's like, type out this wall of specs on like what happened over the last week. And I'm like, you're a god. So yeah, really, really, really looking forward to next year's Mech Madness. Hopefully we can do a similar thing where we cover it again. We can be even more professional and prepared for it that next time. And that'll be good stuff. I think this has a lot of potential to be an awesome yearly event, an amazing yearly event.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to doing it again next year. I think it was great. And in the UK, we don't really do bracket kind of stuff, but I really got into that. So I found the Formula 1 one and I joined that as well. So it's really got me into looking at other stuff. So yeah, thank you.
It's very competitive.
Really appreciate it. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. It's good.
All right, guys. So we are caught up on questions, but we will give you guys just another minute or two if you want to get any last-minute questions before we leave. So make sure you use @TopClackTag if you have any final last-minute questions before we take off. But, of course, before any of that, you can check below the stream. You can find our YouTube channel, which you can sub to. You can watch VODs there, some typing tests, stuff like that. You can also... build streams. Yep. And then also below stream, you can find the official Discord link if you want to join our server and hang out with us. Maybe talk about some keyboards. Maybe not talk about some keyboards and talk about some other stuff. Maybe play some games. Talk about whatever. There's something for everyone there.
Absolutely, yeah. A couple more questions have just come in. Jay Tribiani says, Brian, what's your favourite budget whiskey?
That's a really good question, actually. Hold on. I'm bringing up my whiskey doc. Yes, I have a whiskey doc.
I need to do a whiskey doc.
My whiskey doc is public, but it probably shouldn't be. It's not very organized at the moment. I'm just going to share my whiskey doc. Hold on.
Cool, share that.
Anyone can view it. Okay, if you want to take a look, there's my whiskey doc. It's not very organized at the moment. It's kind of organized by category. It's not alphabetical at the moment. But if anyone's actually curious about my opinions on whiskey, I go through here. My ratings tend to be a little generous, so keep that in mind. They're consistent with each other, but they're generous.
That's fair.
I should go through and subtract 1 from like every rating, but That's where I'm at right now. I think I tried this Crater Lake American Rye that was $22 at a local store before taxes. Out here in Washington, we kind of get shafted. There's a 30% liquor tax per liter or whatever. So like a $22 bottle winds up being like a $30 or $31 or $32 bottle. So, but I keep the prices before taxes for people that aren't in Washington that aren't screwed like I am. But this Crater Lake American Rye was $22 a bottle, and it was one of the most interesting whiskeys I've ever had. I would really, really recommend you try it if you're into really unique rye in particular. Rye and bourbon have kind of been where I am lately. I don't really do as much Scotch anymore.
Okay, but, yeah. See, we're different in that because I do like a good Scotch.
I used to be only Scotch. Scotch was the only liquor that I drank, and then I kind of started moving towards the American stuff, and I was like, America has a lot of really good whiskeys. So
see, over the years, I've gone the other way. I've gone from like the sour mashes and stuff like that over to the Scotches. So we've kind of gone in the opposite directions. But there's no right or wrong. It's whatever you like, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of which, some of the guys for my birthday last week, they did. So Chris Wise and Olivia and a few other people, they all clubbed together. So thank you guys. I'm not going to name you all, but thank you over to them. They clubbed together and got me a nice bottle of 18-year-old Dalmore. So I haven't tried that yet. But that's next on my list to try. And they even got me a nice little sifter glass as well to enjoy it from. So thank you very much, guys. I was really happy about that.
Nice. Yeah. As far as the actual question, my favorite budget whiskey right now, I don't know if I really have an answer to that. Like I said, that Crater Lake American Rye, I've only had that once, but that was cheap, and I thought it was awesome. If you're in America and you have, like, a Trader Joe's by you, a lot of their, like, self-titled stuff, their own branded stuff, is honestly really good for how much it costs. Okay. Like, I have a bottle of their newly released Special Reserve Irish whiskey. It's $16 a bottle. Really, really cheap in comparison to a lot of other things, but it's actually, like, really good. I like it a lot more than stuff like Jameson, Bushmills, Tullamore Dew, stuff like that. So you never really know, man. Sometimes the money doesn't always scale with how good it is. Sometimes you can find some really good budget stuff.
It's like that in any hobby, though, whether it's drink or keyboards or anything. Yeah, the money doesn't always scale with quality. It's two very different things. Yeah.
Anyways, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about whiskey because most of you probably don't want to hear about that. But there's my doc if you're ever curious. You can always hit me up on Discord if you want any like recommendations or you want any opinions from me. So. Dixie Mech asking, did Jay say I got him to watch college basketball? Did I hear that correctly?
No. What you got me into, not college basketball, you got me into watching bracket-style systems, Dixie. So after doing Mech Madness, I found other bracket-style competitions. So there's one that I found for Formula One, which is the main sport that I follow, and I've just got a really healthy appetite for bracket-style systems because they're really fun. We don't usually do them in the UK. It's not something we have as such. It's not something we pay much attention to. So it was really fun, and yeah, I've picked that up and I've sorted it out in other hobbies as well.
Yeah, nice. All right. People are. Faza saying, I don't see any Japanese whiskeys on there, for shame. This doc is supposed to be personal. It's incomplete. This is not every whiskey I've had. I've had several more whiskeys than this, but I don't have literally everything I've ever tried on here. But I've had at least 3 Japanese whiskeys I can think of off the top of my head. And I have more or less enjoyed them. So it's, it's incomplete. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Osiris saying in that same vein, you need to try Mitcher's American whiskey. Yeah, I see it a lot. I haven't actually tried it, but I'll give it a try. Thank you for that, Rick.
Yep. Straight Classy saying, any idea what's wrong with my PayPal? I'm not seeing a Key Cult #1 invoice for some reason. Yeah, I didn't get one for the TKL thing. I don't know what's going on, but Riot must be sorting it out in the background for us, mate.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, everyone's PayPal is probably messed up right now, not having those Key Cult invoices in there. That's really unfortunate. Hate it when that happens.
Riot will sort it out. Don't worry, man. It'll be sorted out soon. Fam Guy says, how does an F1 bracket work? It's over the course of the season, and what they're doing is they're pitching. It's not actually what they're doing is every week they've got a different bracket for the different drivers, and they're putting different drivers against each other for certain things. So for number of overtakes and stuff like that, there's different brackets for different things. So it's like I think there's something stupid like 42 brackets or something going on over the course of the season, and every week it's something different. So it's not like you do for Mech Madness or for like college basketball, from what I understand, but they've just kind of taken that system and expanded it for the whole sport. So it's really interesting. It's really difficult to explain on a keyboard stream, but it is really good. And if anyone wants to link, ping me, and I'll sort it out tomorrow and share the link to you.
Nice.
Loba says you should change the color of the top Clack icon because it's the same color as when you're offline. Okay, yeah, we'll take a look at that. We are having a look at logos and things tomorrow, so that might be something we can take a look at.
Yeah, actually, someone else has mentioned that to me before, so I don't know why I didn't remember that from last time. Sorry about that. But yeah, that has been a complaint before. We'll look into that, definitely. Baby Feet's also subs Twitch Prime 17 months in a row. Says I am still alive, by the way. Thank you so much, man.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, no, it's good to see you again. Good to see you again.
All right, well, one more question. Dixie Mech asking me, how is the new ride? So, I mean, if you guys maybe follow on the Discord, I just got a car. Like, I literally bought a car yesterday. I haven't owned a running car in almost 2 years. It's like almost 2 years since I've owned a running car. I have terrible luck with cars. I don't make a lot of money, so the cars I usually buy tend to be crappy cars that are just old and cheap, and I run them into the ground and then they die. But for the first time like ever, I went to a dealership and I was like, I had some things I was looking for, and I bought a used, because I can't afford a new car still, but I bought a used 2012 Honda Civic Si, which was a car that I've kind of been on the lookout for a while, and there was one local to me. I knew the guy running the dealership, and
nice.
I managed to snag it for a pretty solid price. So I'm pretty happy about that. I'm loving it. I'm liking it. It's fun.
Good. You do need to share more pictures. You do need to share more.
I do. I need to I need to go get it washed and find a good spot to take some pictures in. It's not perfect. It needs a few minor things, but I'm probably gonna have it painted eventually.
Cars do. That's just
it's a 7-year-old car, and it's a 7-year-old car.
But yeah, the VTEC engine though, that's the cool bit.
Yeah, the VTEC is fun. The K24 in there is a lot more spirited than I'm used to.
Good. They are good engines. I do genuinely appreciate them as an engine. I've got a friend who's got a Mini with one of the VTEC engines. I think it's a K24 actually. He had to extend the front, the length of the front bonnet and things like that, or the hood as you.
Yeah. Oh wait, you just went silent on Discord, Jay. I think Discord's messing with us. Yeah, Discord's messing with us. Give it a sec. Oh my god, Discord, please. I swear Jay isn't muted. I'm looking at it right now. He is not muted on stream.
Yeah, I'm talking.
It's actually Discord. Okay, we can hear you now. Okay.
Yeah, you can hear me now. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Discord, please. Don't know what was happening there. Yeah.
Anyways, that's probably as good a time as any before we have any issues to wrap up the stream for now, since we're caught up on questions as well. So once again, thank you all so much for joining in on the stream today. Hope you guys had a good time. We had a great time, like always. Always
Absolutely.
Good stuff.
Yep.
Check below the stream for links to some relevant stuff if you're into that sort of thing. And we will definitely catch you next week. Same time, same place. I believe Sunday there's going to be a build stream with Jay, of course.
Yep, it will either be my HHKB TX60 in antique copper if that arrives. If not, it'll be my Noxery 268. Just while we're talking about streams, the other thing I want to do is just give a shout out to Chewy and Osiris TV for their new Mechs on Decks YouTube VOD series. You guys should go check that out. Some good content on there as well. I'll post a link in chat. So I hope you'll have a look at that, guys.
Oh yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch that after the stream actually, because I haven't watched the episode yet.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I was really impressed. The guys have got some good ideas, and as always, Brian and I've talked about this before. We'd love to support new people coming into the into the hobby and wanting to share their creativity side and being a creator, a content creator. So we'd love to share that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah. People I actually ask this kind of often. People, like, whenever I talk about stuff like that, they're like, "Why are you supporting competitors?" And I'm like, because they're doing cool things. Like, what do you?
Yeah.
That's like the whole point of Top Clack is to cultivate that kind of growth. Like, if people are doing cool things, then who are we to stand in the way?
Exactly. Yeah. Got to support whoever you can support in this hobby, and we've got to back each other up. That's the way we've got to do things.
We're growing together, man. It's a network, and as long as we empower each other and we cultivate the right things and the right people, then it's a bright future ahead of all of us. It's not necessarily a competition between who can do the best in this field or whatever. That's not how this works. Like, our community is very niche. We got to grow together, and we got to help each other.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Anyways,
cool.
Thank you all for watching. We'll catch you next time. Make sure to come on and tune in on Sunday, and you can watch Jay build some nice keyboards as usual. Until then, bye.